What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Dave Knows Wrestling live stream here on Dave Knows Wrestling. I'm your host, David Lee.
And I'm Albert Albanese.
And right now, we are messing around with the computer, trying to get it to display the chat.
Here we go.
Or I'm messing around with the computer.
And there it is.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, what's going on, Degenerate?
What's up, man?
Can't see your name on the Discord. I was looking. Hey, Tim Castillo, Razorblade, what's up?
So, Degenerate and Tim were on my live chat last night.
Okay.
That's right.
Oh, there.
I'm going to shout everybody out because they're cool.
Gotcha.
Damn it.
Gotcha. And here I thought there was no live stream today. No, we fooled you. 5 minutes early.
How dare you assume that that I'm not going to start?
Because we're now in a room without cable. The motif is just not there.
Yeah, so we...
Oh, thank you, Walter White, 87. Oh, Walter White, Breaking Bad fan. So I guess you really like the Kayfabe Science intro.
Yeah, we don't have Raw on anymore. We don't have a way. We're going to figure out a way. I'm going to figure out a way. We have to figure out a way, because I do want to have it on in the background. Because then I have to go back and watch all 3 hours of it.
I know, believe me. Yeah, I know.
Like, it was so much easier when I only had to watch like an hour or two, because I would have seen half of the stuff.
Right.
Watch the promos, fast forward to the matches that I watched the entirety of.
The sad part is it was more skippable back then, because back then the opening segment would just be Stephanie yapping her mouth off.
Right.
For 15 minutes talking about how she invented women or something. And then,
Wait.
Yeah.
She didn't invent women?
I don't think so.
Really? I'm surprised. You learn something new every day.
Hey, thank you for the thumbs up. And nope, my boy Knight is front row on Raw.
Awesome. That's it. Yeah, Harry was in my chat yesterday.
What'd you get suspended for?
Harry got suspended.
What'd you get suspended for, man? What you doing?
Opinion
rumors of WrestleMania having 17 matches. Well, I know it's going to be 17 hours long, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, a match an hour, why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's a bonkers card, but WrestleMania's been bonkers, so... What up, Arthur?
What's going on, Arthur? Yeah, TJ, I think that was the best way you put it yesterday. Harry gave the teacher a rack attack. So I asked if it was...
She badmouthed Nikki Bella and you punched her, right?
Well, no, so I asked if it was the rack attack or the rack attack 2.0.
So, yes, Arthur. I think you're kidding, because that would very much surprise me if Dana Brooke. I did like what she tweeted about why she looks different and all that. I didn't like Dana Brooke in NXT at all, but I have felt she's been misutilized.
100%, yeah.
Like the Ascension. I hated the Ascension in NXT, but now I was like, what's wrong? Why don't people give the Ascension their due?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Tim, I think you're 100% right. One day I'll have Dave come on.
Here comes the...
No. The greatest...
I haven't played 19.
The greatest video game ever was for the Nintendo 64. It was WWF No Mercy. Hands down, bar none, the best.
I am WWE 13 guy. My second...
I like 13 as well.
Which is very close, is Raw 2 for Xbox.
That's a good one, too. Very underrated.
Yeah, because most people didn't have it. Raw 2 was very good. Raw 2 was great because you could walk around, you could... backstage, you could try to steal things out of people's bags. You would have to, like, before your match, you would have the car of the show, and then you would know where you are. But all the downtime between and after matches, you could go around. You could choose to rest, or you could try to exercise, work on your promo skills. You could talk to other wrestlers, try to become friends with them, start feuds with others, ask divas out on dates. You could do all kinds of set traps to try and booby trap people. There was tons of things to do in the downtime, which I really liked a lot, and not so. It was a little easier than from what I've seen of 19. Well, Dana should have been Gallows Anderson's manager. Well, that window's closing pretty short. So
yeah, really.
When you say should have, past tense is probably accurate. What up, Robert Sherlock? Skurlock? Okay.
Yeah.
Me and a kid got in a fight. Well, fighting's rough, man.
But Harry said he won, so.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah. TJ came in, made the good joke, and left.
TJ Fritz is still here, I think.
Well, he said, I just wanted to join and say Harry gave the teacher a rack attack. Catch you guys later.
Okay, that's why AA likes you. Raw 2 is his favorite video game as well. It's amazing!
It's a really underrated wrestling game.
I want to play it now. Yeah, and the 2 rules that you need to know is if you play that game, never, ever start a feud with Brock Lesnar or Triple H because they never leave you alone. Because all these games have this now, but at the time it was kind of rare where there was like levels of how much people didn't like you or how much people liked you. And Triple H and Brock, if you got them in the red, they never dissipate. There are other people your feuds could cool off, and then eventually you might even be friends with them. Triple H and Brock, if they were ever pissed at you, they stay pissed at you forever. They will never let it go. And I feel like Triple H, I kind of get it, but it really should have been Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Scott Steiner. Those, I feel, should have been the 3 that once you get them mad, they'll never leave you alone.
Scott Steiner especially.
Yeah. Scott Steiner dodged that bullet somehow, and I don't know why. Jeez, Harry. Randy Orton reference.
Yeah, I actually like that.
Hey guys, nice of you to start right before Raw. Love the content. Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Thank you for being here. Raw 2 had the best season mode. Yeah, I really like Raw 2 a lot.
There was one of the ones for the PlayStation where the season mode was really good. That's the one with Fred Durst in it, one of the SmackDown vs. Raws where Fred Durst is a playable character.
Why is that your endorsement? Why is that your lead-off for talking about this game? You realize that kind of hurts the game's credibility now.
That's the only negative part of it.
His entrance was... I liked his entrance.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, because he bounces up in the car and then falls into the car and everything like that. I used it for creator wrestlers, not for him.
But I did like...
What up, Vinny Montana?
I did like the fact that you could do the same thing, roam around backstage, talk to different people, interact, and that's how you kind of build everything up.
But what I liked about Raw 2 over that is, well, those games, you were kind of like walking down the hallways and looking around in this very clunky turning system. Raw 2 was more you just click on things, like you click on this time frame and play what you want to say, so it was faster and less loading.
No, I agree.
And that was another thing I actually liked about the original Xbox versus... I hate that there's a system called Xbox One now because it makes talking about the original Xbox almost impossible.
I know.
But the original Xbox versus PlayStation 2 was... I felt the Xbox original had way less loading time than PS2.
I agree. It was a lot faster.
Yeah. What game are you talking about? I'm talking about Raw 2, the game that, like...
And that's what I'm talking about, No Mercy.
Yeah. Like, 5 people cared about Raw 2, and it's a great game. It had a lot of glitches, though. I will say that. I will admit that. Don Lesnar would have been easy. He'll never show up. No, this was old Brock. Yeah, if it was current Brock, he'd probably forget he was mad at you.
Right.
I almost guarantee Brock has no memory of Samoa Joe.
Who?
Yeah, he would go. The guy in TNA?
Wait, he doesn't know what TNA is.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Brock wouldn't know what TNA is. John Henry thought my name wasn't real.
Ooh, that's a good question, Super Ermac. Do you think Triple H hates Shane Douglas, or is that just Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall? I don't know if Triple H has ever really had much of an interaction with Shane Douglas. I don't think
that matters. That's enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Shane Douglas deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Throwing that out there. Just for his contributions to ECW and just the wrestling business and changing the landscape as a whole.
Oh, absolutely. You get no argument from me on that. I'm all about Shane Douglas, the franchise. But I feel like the clique as a whole, if they hate you, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because really, name somebody that one member of the clique hates, but another member doesn't. Or most of them hate, but there's like one outlier. Because the only thing I could almost come up with, I mean, because they're all friends now, allegedly, but X-Pac has always been the one who I think liked Brett the most.
I was just going to bring that. I was the exact same example.
But they're all friends now, though.
Yeah.
But they're all friends now, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But I kind of feel like it's a group decision. X-Pac and Brett might be the closest thing to an outlier I have.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go with.
Face up, thank you, coming in strong with another one.
The best comment ever, though, on the end of it.
No, but thank you for the
what does that say?
I don't remember. I can't see it. It's too
He just gave you money. What does that say?
It said words. Everyone else can read it. He knows the drill. He knows I'm not going to fall for it. Albert, do you like my Joe Henry story?
Oh, yeah. Joe Henry didn't think that Harry Flynn's name was Harry Flynn.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah. My girl Sable is going to ring with Brock at WrestleMania.
That's interesting.
The WC logo was in the corner.
By the way, somebody asked earlier, Richard Lee actually had mentioned about the build for the AJ Styles Randy Orton match. Man, that promo, solid. They brought it there. That was really good.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's a dream match me and you talked about off air a lot that we both wanted to have.
But Randy is a guy that I feel has been... you know what I think is weird? Randy, as of late, has been really consistently for a while now. This feud with Jeff Hardy, even if it doesn't stick in your mind for very long,
just the year.
Yeah, he's been going with the boundaries. He hasn't been phoning it in. He's been really trying lately. Maybe not the number one, maybe not the most amount of effort of all time or anything like that, but he's been doing a very good job as of late. And people have been sleeping on him. And I feel similarly to the last time Cena had a full-time run. Cena was really working hard his last run.
Yeah, he really was.
But really nobody noticed or cared. And I understand they occupy very different positions here in wrestling. And I know a lot of people hate John Cena, but for me, I gotta say it might sound weird, I'll take John Cena over Randy Orton. I think Orton's a better athlete.
So
he doesn't care all the time.
There's
Cena
a point,
cares all the time.
There's a point for me where it switches.
Yeah.
Earlier Orton was better than early Cena.
Oh yes, agreed.
During their feud, Orton was the more entertaining of the two, in my opinion. I think he just as a heel, that was when he really ramped up, like being like that really scumbag heel. And I loved him. And then, at one point he had those title runs and he stopped caring, and that's when Cena just skyrocketed above.
Good one, TJ Fritz. Yeah, as of late, I'll take John Cena over Orton, but in the beginning of the career, absolutely, I would go the other way with that. They go, watch WrestleMania 11 today. Wow, yeah, what did you think about seeing Lawrence Taylor in the main event with Bam Bam Bigelow?
It's so funny because I ultimately forget about the fact that that's the case.
How?
All the time. Because I think I've kind of stricken that from my memory.
First time the WWF title was not in the main event at a WrestleMania was when?
WrestleMania 1.
Oh, no. That's not what I meant. But, well, the WWF champion was not in the main event.
The WWF champion was not in the main event.
But yes, that's a good call.
Yeah.
That wasn't a trick question, but it became one now. That's a good trick question to fuck people with.
Were you going to say WrestleMania 4 then?
No. The title was still involved.
Okay, fair enough.
It was 8 because Ric Flair and Macho Man was in the mid-card.
Right. And it was that great Hogan versus Sid match with the debut of Papa Shango, the reintroduction of Papa Shango.
I also don't understand if it was called a double main event, first ever double main event. Why weren't they back to back?
Because Vince has no idea what he's doing sometimes. I love Vince. I don't shit on Vince a lot, but man, sometimes, dude, stop that.
He's 50-50, but it's enough, it's enough to say there's something there. Okay, Ant says Shawn Michaels versus Sting was a match that he's always wanted to see.
I agree.
Now, I'll put it this way.
They were both called the Icon, at a point, like that was like that big deal. They were like, oh.
You're going to say yes to this, but do you want to see DDP and The Rock because they're both the people's chance?
Hell yeah!
I know you were going to say yes.
You know that was Page's pitch when he came into WWE, right?
I know that, but that is not a stylistic feud. Sting and Shawn Michaels make way more sense than that.
I like Page. I'm a very, very underground DDP.
But you know
I love
that
DDP.
It could be gold. That could be Rock Hogan. Okay, maybe not that. Maybe
you're going a little far there.
That could be DDP Goldberg.
Yeah. So thank you,
I'm not opposed to watching. Don't get me wrong. If I got it, I'm not complaining about it. But I'm just
my thing is that I think
it's a weird clash.
It is, but I think they'd actually put into good promos and definitely have put on some good matches.
Oh, no. We can't count promos because there's tons of feuds that would be great for the promos, and then I wouldn't care about the match. That is easy. There's like 1 million of those.
Oh, yeah.
And with a $2 super chat, thanks for even replying. Hey, thank you. Then from 96, thank you, Ant. Yes, okay, so both for thank you, Ant, for the super chat. Thank you. So yes, from 96. Okay, here's my issue though, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm dumping on Sting because I'm not, because I'm a big Sting fan. But I noticed something when you try to gauge Sting with chemistry, when you try to think of him as in-ring chemistry, when you try to look at him from a component parts, he doesn't make a lot of sense. It's very hard to try and place him with someone you... Because, for instance, his match with Brett was garbage. Pure garbage.
Yeah.
Somehow, on paper, it sounded fantastic. So, garbage. So, you want to see Shawn Michaels versus Sting? I understand that. But I don't know what it would do. Because if Brett and Sting was bad, my logic here is that will probably be bad. That might be bad, too. It might not, though. Because, again, you can't gauge Sting... Well, and here's my other example of it. Sting and Ricky Steamboat, great. Sting and Ric Flair, great. Macho Man, Ric Flair, good. Flair and Steamboat, great. Macho Man and Sting should be good, and it wasn't.
It wasn't, yeah.
I don't know why. It's like they're just, that's what I think. Sting is the weirdest guy to try and figure out who he'd work with well.
Sting works, and this is my thing. Sting works the best with a strong heel. And I think it's just like a guy who really wants to get heat on him.
Yeah, but he worked well with Steamboat, too.
That happened to just be, I think, an anomaly with him. Because think about it, his better matches, Flair, were great matches. His matches with
Macho Hogan, good. Sting Hogan,
his matches with Rick Rude were really good. You know, I mean, a lot of guys were really strong heels, and they really got a lot of heat on Sting.
It's just next to him. I mean,
his matches with Steve Austin, when Austin was really like that heat-seeking, mid card guy trying to get up.
Is a match between Macho Man and Steve Austin, and a lot of people don't think about it. It is a very rare gem. They've competed against each other for the U.S. in the early rounds of the United States tournament. Like when people do ask me from time to time like rare gems or something to look up that a lot of people don't talk about. That's one of them. Austin versus Macho. Like there's a whole, you could do a list of people Macho Man wrestled that you didn't know he wrestled. Unfortunately, you can't watch all of them, but you can make a list. Like, he wrestled Bruno Sammartino, and a lot of people don't realize that. He wrestled The Undertaker, and a lot of people don't realize that. And I would love to have seen Macho and The Undertaker.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe it wouldn't be good, but I still want to watch it.
No, look, it's the same thing. A lot of people built up the idea of the Sting and Undertaker match. Who knows?
I don't think that will work either.
But, it's just still something you wanted to see.
Warhawk Rambo says DDP was one of the hardest working men in the industry. Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm just saying that I don't know how they work together, because when I think about dream matches, I think about that. One of mine, I've said it multiple times, is Brett and Angle. I want to see that because I know from everything I can see, everything I've found, they should make sense together because of the way they work together.
Another match that I don't really think we ever got to see, and if we did, we didn't get to see it in the right way that I've always wanted, was Angle and Malenko.
Yeah. I love that.
And we never really got, obviously we've seen him work with Jericho and Benoit a lot, but we never got to see, Malenko would cool down so much when he got into the WWE.
Wow, King Ivan, not a big Sting fan, huh? Wow. Arguments all night. AJ Envoy, probably going to start some controversy. Shawn Michaels and AJ is something I understand more, too. And
I get that, too. It's
because I've said that often when people would say, because when there were rumors about that coming back, because there were rumors a while back, last year Royal Rumble, about Shawn Michaels versus the AJ Styles, or Shawn Michaels comeback, or AJ Styles, Undertaker and AJ Styles. Actually, all three of those things were rumors, but I'd rather see AJ go against Shawn Michaels than the Undertaker. Stylistically, that will make more sense.
Did you just say you'd rather see a Shawn Michaels match than an Undertaker match?
No. You're twisting my words.
Ooh, great move.
I'm trying to be nice.
Bryan versus Benoit, Angle. Well, Angle and Regal have wrestled base up.
Bryan, but also when people say wrestle, there are plenty of simple matches, but
Yeah, I mean, Angle and Regal deserved a bigger stage, but I think they did have a couple of pretty decent matches on Raw, good 2-segment matches on Raw.
I think it'd be more accurate to say a dream match would be Kurt Angle versus Steven Regal.
Yes.
That I'd be more interested in.
Degenerate brings us to a great point. I'm going to bring it up again. Great Muta versus Undertaker? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
Hey, Dave, can we WWE rehire Taz to replace Renee? Oh, because Taz's reaction to Brock Lesnar. Oh, no.
I like the, well, here comes the pain. I did like it every time he came out.
I hate it. I talk to the Thugonomics every single time John Cena comes out. Here comes the pain.
You mean that what Michael Cole does now?
Oh, because I like Michael Cole. That's not an argument.
I'm just saying.
I don't like Michael Cole either. So
hey, Dave, it's boss time.
Yeah, no, I don't like that Michael Cole does it either. And here's my question, because I feel that, we know that WWE has placed a lot of mandates and everything on talent, commentators specifically, on what they should say and when they should say it. The leaked sheet says how they need to describe talent all the time. I don't know if that was around when Taz was doing it. I don't know if maybe Taz did it just because, and maybe Stephanie thought it was a good idea, and because of Taz, we have to deal with everybody doing it now.
Maybe.
Because I don't want that to be true. Because that's the case. I'm gonna have to lower Taz in my liking rating.
Byron Saxton is the worst out of all of them, though. Let me tell you something. And look, this is just an opinion, guys. And I'm not saying I don't want. I don't want to see the ending of this. I love Kofi Kingston. Byron Saxton on commentary makes me hate Kofi Kingston. Like every 5 seconds, I get that we're trying to get the storyline across that Kofi Kingston got screwed, but every 5 seconds, well, I can't believe that Vince McMahon did this to Kofi. 30 seconds later, well, Kofi was screwed. 30 seconds later, well, that was all great, but that was Kofi's spot in the match. Like they went to go put over Mustafa Ali on SmackDown this week about how he did a great job in that match, in that triple threat match. And he was, before he can compliment him, he was like, well, that originally was the spot that Kofi Kingston wanted it was supposed to be in, and the fans really wanted it, but Mustafa Ali came in there and he did a good job. I was like, yo, he's a babyface. You're supposed to be putting him over. You're the babyface announcer. He's the worst.
He's a terrible commentator, A. B, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I have a hard time telling him and Phillips apart.
I don't, because Byron's just annoying.
I like Tom Phillips, but...
Yeah, I like Tom Phillips. I don't love Tom Phillips, so I like him a lot more than I like Byron.
I liked him from WWE's YouTube channel. Like, that's when I first got it, and I was rooting for this guy. I'm like, he's got a solid delivery, but yeah, sometimes I confuse him and Byron. Just like when Beth Phoenix is on commentary and Renee. Based on another super chat, thank you. Another Mania dream match for you is Flair versus Hogan versus Rock versus Austin. Well, that's Mount Rushmore for me.
That's so convoluted. There's way too many good guys in that match.
I don't care. Yeah, because there's a money market, there's a money draw argument there. So I would definitely like to see that as well. And I think at least this rounds things out enough where, especially pre-neck break Austin, we could get a decent match out of that. And one thing I definitely wanted
was Hogan's in there, so it's not going to be that great.
Hogan and Austin, because of the natural heat. Mm-hmm. I like seeing that pay off. Like Jericho and Goldberg, that wasn't a match I needed to see.
Sam actually just asked about Hogan and Austin. Or Austin against a heel John Cena. Oh, that would be a good one, too.
Yes, but all I can picture right now is Kurt Hennig singing He Hates Rap.
Steve Austin making fun of Kurt Hennig singing I Hate Rap.
But, yeah, so... But thank you for the super chat, Base. Thank you for another super chat. Very, very generous of you, as always. Thank you. Austin versus Hogan, I definitely would like to see. My template for that, though, is is Rock and Hogan. Because that was better than anybody thought it was going to be.
Way better than anybody thought it was going to be.
Like, hype-wise, yes, it was going to be good. But in ring-wise, the actual wrestling and storytelling of it wasn't supposed to be that good. It really wasn't, because... technical snobs tend to lowball both men, and they put on a better. And fine, this is not Eddie and Dean or anything, but they put on a better match storytelling wise and technically than they had any right to do.
I agree.
So maybe it won't be that good, but in my opinion, pre-neck break especially, Austin is by far a better wrestler than The Rock. It's not even a question to me. So, and he's a better storyteller than The Rock too, in my opinion. So if that was good, I feel that also would have brought it to the next level. And I also always like Hogan's ability to tell a story as well. So I know.
That same story he tells every single time?
No, you have him confused with somebody else. Because last I checked, very different story between Hollywood Hogan Wrestling and Hulkamania Hogan Wrestling.
Very different story than heel Shawn Michaels and, Shawn
Absolutely not, because he plays dead most of the time and then kips up at the end. He did the same move. It was the same thing. He gets beat on.
Not when he was a heel.
Absolutely when he was a heel.
That's a lie.
Yeah,
you know it.
He was a little chicken. He was
right. And so Hogan couldn't tell the same story because he wasn't the babyface. But I guarantee you, even Hogan as a heel, probably wanted to Hulk up a little bit. And he probably was so mad he couldn't kick out of people's finishes anymore.
He did Hulk up a little bit, but very different story because, what was the weightlifting belt? What was all that cheap, dirty tactics?
Yeah, he was a heel. He changed his character.
Yeah, because it's a different story. It's night and day. Look, you always accuse me of being biased, despite the fact that I use actual proof and facts and, precedent to lay this out to you. I'm using actual proof and facts to tell you right now. Hogan told a completely different story.
Yes, he did, because he had a different story to tell. For the most part, Shawn told a completely different story when he had his singles run, when he was IC champion.
He told a different story with Ric Flair. That is true. I've never taken that away from him. He told a different story with Angle. I've never taken that away from him. Outside of that, it's a very similar playbook.
Razor.
What?
Razor.
And what?
In every match that him and Razor had.
That's Absolutely not. Razor was always dominant. It's the same thing. He's always on the struggling defense. It's the same playbook. Him and Razor did not. He told the same exact story. He even lost the first ladder match because he was dangling from the rope, caught. He's always playing an animal stuck in a trap. That's his MO. And maybe at the end he'll kick and win, or maybe he'll just stay down. Those are your only options with his matches. And I get that that's exciting, and I get that that's inviting to people. I understand that, and I don't even take away people's right to like that. But my major complaints about it are: 1, it's boring for me. 2, his facial expressions, which a lot of people like for selling. I believe, stage acting wise, you need to play to the cheap seats all the way in the back. You can't read his face from the back. Therefore, I don't care how much you like his facial expressions. They don't count as selling to me. I'm sorry, I don't count it. Because that's the same reason why I take away from Nakamura's backstabber. I'm fair with it, everybody, so don't make it so. I'm just trying to point it out that I'm not just attacking people I don't like. I also feel the same way about Nakamura. So I'm also not a fan of that style of selling, where it's subtle. I don't like subtle selling. Who do I love selling-wise? Mr. Perfect. Yes, does he get accused of being over the top? I like that.
You mean Dolph Ziggler Sr.?
You're not knocking me off of this. I like over-the-top selling because it plays with people in the back, and that's just stage acting 101.
No, I get it. Believe me, I've taken acting classes all throughout my life.
That's why I know you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
So, yeah. Did you hear at least laugh at? I just thought it was garbage. But I didn't. But TJ Fritz, I wasn't going to like that match no matter what, because there was. It's too old. I'm also very dicey when it comes to 2 old men wrestling. So when people say Undertaker versus another legend, I instantly pump the brakes and go, uh-oh. The one match I want from Undertaker before he leaves is Undertaker and Kevin Owens. And the only reason I want that is because Kevin Owens wants that. He said he really wants the Undertaker. And I say, give it to him.
I agree. Wait, it's 821. TJ, who were you talking about that is the Undertaker's, Finn Balor's partner? What are we missing on Raw?
Austin being a better storyteller than The Rock. He definitely. You can argue it, but I think Austin is a better storyteller easily and better wrestler in every category than The Rock.
I agree.
I understand that not everyone's going to agree with that, but again, it goes to my thing about The Rock is The Rock. Yeah, he put people over by losing to them and jobbing to them, but he had a hard time putting people over their moveset over.
TJ, you built it up too much. It was Strowman.
Okay. The Rock also had a hard time putting people over in their movesets. Everyone will remember Austin and Brett in the sharpshooter. Did he tap? No. But he got that move over because he was writhing and bleeding all over the place and passed out. Rock has never made one move look so devastating to him that he can't recover from it, you know?
He did sell well. But he wasn't, but it didn't make a move devastating.
Well, yeah, let's say, because Paul Heyman brings up a good point. He said, if you took a guy like Mark Henry and you want to give him a headlock, something as simple as a headlock, but as soon as he slaps it on, people tap immediately and scream in pain. If you did that enough times, that move from Mark Henry could take the belt at WrestleMania and you wouldn't even question it. If done right, you would never, ever book him against The Rock in that case, because The Rock won't. Even if he will never put that move over, he'll never really make it seem like this is a devastating hold. I'll put Austin in that match all day, and Austin will get that move over.
Yeah.
The Rock, I'm not saying he's going to no-sell it. I'm not saying that he's going to try and go in business for himself. He'll do what he's told to do, but he's not going to do it at the level that we need to see to get that move, a headlock. Remember, this is a headlock I'm talking about, one of the most boring moves there is. If you're trying to elevate a boring, simple hold like that and get it to the next level, you need certain guys for it, and The Rock ain't it.
Right, a guy like Christian.
Yeah,
it's the perfect guy to throw a headlock on. He's gonna make you look like you just murdered his entire family.
Oh, wait. Were you talking about Black Lightning from Young Justice season 3 or from the show? I'm assuming the show. Because I just saw Young Justice season 3 and it's amazing. I can't wait till the second half comes out. It's killing me. Stunner. What are we talking about so much for?
I don't know. I like that Owens is using it though.
Shawn Michaels sold in that match at Hogan. No, I didn't. Are you? No.
No, that was awful. And I love Shawn, and he comically oversold just to get a point across.
Let me clarify. I like big gestures that the people in the cheap seats know what's going on. I don't need it so grand that the people in the next state over know what's going on. I want it to be believable.
Ooh, Super Ermac asked a good question. What's your thoughts on Stevie Richards?
Best super kick in the business. Next to Lance Storm, I'm sorry.
Oh,
no, I like Stevie Richards a lot, but I'm a huge ECW guy. So,
yeah. I figured that was going to be your answer.
He surprised me right to censor because I liked him in that more than I should have.
Yeah, no, I love to hate him. Yeah, he really was perfect in that. The White Sox were just a great touch. Such a great touch.
Doink would have been better. Yes. Tobias needs. Wow, jeez. Do people in large numbers still hate Cena? I don't think so because
I don't think it's as big of a number anymore.
Well, his core demographic grew up. They're now in their 20s now. Yeah. He's not around enough for people to hate him anyway. What up, J Mart? I finished season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was worth watching the first 5 episodes. Really? Because I watched the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and about 20 minutes in I gave up. And I haven't gone back since. I
like it. I'm excited that they're doing a last season. I think it's run its course. But the last 2 seasons were really good.
Whoa. Superman punched a guy in UFC Beast Mode.
And Arrow's coming to an end, which is a shame, too. I'm a big fan of that show, too. Yeah, and TJ is right. Rock did sell the stunner better than just about anybody else.
I did not know that, Harry Flynn. I'm sorry we lost a member of the youth to the evil cult. Dave got to ask thoughts on. Oh, I read that already. Christian is way better than Edge. That's not. Yeah, it's not even a contest.
Yep.
Dave Rock sold the hell out of the Mandible Claw and the Stunner. The Mandible Claw is true.
He sold the Stunner better than just about anybody
else.
He
oversold it. Yeah. I like it. I don't know if it works. Because that's like over the top cartoony stuff. I still like it, but I don't know. I don't know if we put a.
I love his selling.
And I can't. Oh well, here's the thing. Here's the other. I can't. I disqualified automatically from putting the Stunner over because he also kicked out of it at Mania. So we'll also go there. Yes, yeah, I'm aware Austin kicked out of Rock Bottom too. I'm not disputing that. So he loses points for that. But the Mandible Claw, because my first instinct is to say Mandible Claw yes, Stunner no. That's really what it comes down to. Mandible Claw. I'll give you that.
He did sell it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give you that. Imagine Shawn Michaels and Alexa Bliss as a couple.
Throw Harry said. Place. Ride and no. No. Has Steamboat versus Bret happened before?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it has. There is a Hart Foundation Coliseum videotape from the Boston Garden with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Bret Hart on it, and it's phenomenal. If you can find it, it's not even on the network. You can find it, look it up. It's a great match. Arthur, I think the WWE probably owns the copyright to Doink. Who's better in the ring, Cena or Triple H?
Cena.
I don't know. Triple H tells a better story.
I feel like Triple H is another one. Same old, same old. When has Triple H done anything innovative? When has he sequenced something differently? When has he done anything other than just textbook moves? And you want to say, like, because Cena has not, and I know you like Cena too, but he tried the Cena Karate. Yeah, it was awful, but he kept doing it until he fixed it. He did the Springboard Stunner, which I don't like him using the Stunner, but still, he did things that you weren't expecting out of him. He did go against type. He has brought things to the table that you wouldn't see coming. Triple H is just safe.
Moveset always doesn't equate a better match.
It doesn't. But once again, he's taking risks. Where Triple H has been always the safe. And I don't mean safety in terms of not getting hurt. I mean safe as in pleasing or serviceable. Triple H has always looked to put on a very good serviceable match. Where Cena has tried to go beyond what his critics say, or go beyond his size, the size of his recommended moveset. He's taken shots. He's gone further with moves, or tried harder than Triple H has. So
I mean, I can give you that.
You know,
I just think
he does watch all the time. I'm not taking that away from him. Say Triple H is not better than Cena. Just did. That just happened. That's how I feel about Rollins. He's just there. I think I think he rips off from New Japan's playbook a little too much, but not that that's a bad thing because everything's stolen, and if you're going to steal from somewhere, that's not the worst thing in the world to steal from Tanahashi. But I don't think Rollins is necessarily 100% safe, and I'm not just talking about the Finn Balor or Sting injury. Anyway, or John Cena.
Look, I think that mistakes happen. I just think that some high-profile ones just happen to happen.
But I think
to Rollins.
No, but I think when it comes to Rollins, it was just too obvious of a joke. I had to make it. But I like Rollins. But when it takes Rollins doing stuff, I do see him being influenced by other stuff in Japan and all that. And while I knock on it, he was bringing a lot of this stuff to America before Nakamura got here. So that is it borrowed? Sure, but people borrow all the time. And also, at least it was something new to WWE. He came into the game wanting to change WWE style. He came him and Triple H, according to an interview I saw with him, he was saying how Triple H really didn't like him in the beginning because he was constantly trying to change the program. So if you want to say that about Rollins now, maybe he's gotten complacent a little bit. I can hear the argument. I don't think
so either. But I get what people can say. Some of his matches are very similar. But Rollins is another guy who we can talk about who doesn't tell the same story every match. And I do like that.
The Simpsons episode had involving WCW wrestlers or WWF wrestlers been memorable during the 90s or not. Well, so it's not just a quick cameo like Bret Hart. Do you think a Simpsons episode involving? Yeah, I think I would have loved it, and that'd be enough for me. Every wrestler does the same moves, Dave. I don't think every wrestler does the same moves, but like Kane's not doing a Hurricane Rana.
No, he's trying to say that every wrestler has their own moveset.
Oh yeah, no, and I know that, but there are some wrestlers who vary it up, who switch it up from time to time, change things up, add things, take things away, and also, as I said in the beginning of that whole exchange, it's about the sequence too. It's not just about the move or the moves. It's about how they piece things together, where their placement in the ring is, or approaching things in a unique style. One of the things that people love about DDP, and unlike what Michael Cole wants you to believe about Randy Orton, DDP really did apply the uncutter from seemingly out of nowhere. You were never ready for it. Well, that's not true. There were a lot of times you were ready for it, but there were occasions where he would snap it on and you didn't see it coming.
That Eddie Guerrero one's my favorite example.
Yeah. So DDP, and Orton has done things like that too. I'm not taking away from Orton, but DDP was the innovator of it. So is it the same move over and over again? Yeah, but he did things to make it different. And Cena, I go back to him because I know people dump on him all the time, but when people kept saying 5 moves of doom, which if you saw my episode, you know that's also not the correct way to use that term. But anyway, he added the STFU. Is it done like the STF should be done? No. Not even close. But it was an addition to it. The Cena Kinrana, the Springboard Stunner. I don't necessarily like any of these moves, but he was adding to it, is my point. So it's like an A for effort thing, like pat him on the head and go, good for you, scamp, now go run along and play. I'm giving a take in that one category, where Triple H hasn't added a new move in forever. Hey, John Doe. Like, when was the last time Triple H added a new move? When was the last time you said you saw something new from Triple H? And the dude's been wrestling forever.
That match against Daniel Bryan, I think he did a couple submissions I'd never really seen him do. The one at WrestleMania. I can't remember. But it was a lot. But it was also because it was a match based around Bryan. I think he had hurt his shoulder, right?
Went over my head if he did. Oh, look, Dave, the human super... Was Ronda's husband... Is a tall drink of water? Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Hey, thanks for the visual of Kane doing a Hurricane Rana.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I had that in a video game once. If you can bring Austin back today and have him have one final Mania match, who would it be against? Today?
Orton.
Not for me.
I think Orton gets a good match out of him.
KO?
Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
If I had like 3, Dean Ambrose would be one of them. But if I only have one, it ain't gonna be Dean. Sorry.
I don't even know if Dean Ambrose is up there for me on that. I think I'd rather see him. I'd rather see him face Roman than I think he'll really pull a hard hitting match out of Roman. More than I think Dean. Yeah, it's Orton. KO's a good choice. But it's Orton for me. And not just the Rattlesnake Viper comparison. It's the
Punk's not wrestling though. That's why.
Right, and if Punk was around, that would be it.
Brock, not. I mean, now this version of Brock is garbage. But
yeah,
I did want to see Austin
older Brock. Yeah.
Which was ironically the younger Brock. Terry's pectoral is something I never saw Triple H. What?
I think he's joking around about the Saudi show.
Sure, I saw Kane. Oh, that's a good point. Sure, I saw Kane doing her before. He had legitimate legendary matches in WWE and good feuds with a lot of guys. Cena is clunky. But that's not the question.
I don't know about never really elevated. I think you're trying to say I think he said alleviated. I think
he means elevated, but I don't think that's true. I really don't think he put anybody over. I really don't. Triple H, I don't really think he put anybody over.
We've had this conversation before, and I think he did. But
without taking it back, though. And Batista's the only argument you can have. But
Roman, Seth,
right. Yeah.
Brian.
Right. I forgot about old Triple H, but all right. But
Austin.
That's just stupid. He didn't put Austin over. Austin was already Austin. Beating Triple H did not put him on a higher plateau. Austin put Triple H on a higher plateau.
Yeah, he did.
But anyway, but those aren't the questions. Those are factors for another day. But the Batista thing I'll give you. Is Cena awkward and clunky?
Yeah.
I was not arguing that those moves weren't done well, but I'm saying he tried more. He put more effort into things. He gave more attempts at being innovative, where Triple H just played it by the numbers. And I understand that to a degree. I'm not even knocking people who play by the numbers. But it was just what out of the two do I prefer? I prefer a guy who's going to take chances. That's what I'm looking for. Not to bring up the legit sports or nothing, but and this might start a whole new fire, but Jordan or LeBron? I say Jordan. Here's the thing.
Thank you.
I don't even like Jordan. I like LeBron James more than I like Michael Jordan. But LeBron plays it safe. He's always making sure fine. He went back to the Cavs, but they beefed the Cavs up. He went to the Heat. Now he's on the Lakers. Like, he's a guy who played it relatively safe. Where Jordan was, Jordan had Pippen, but Jordan, he stayed on that team no matter what.
Right.
They built a team around him.
Which is what they did in Cleveland, and then they couldn't get it done, so he left and went somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just so he can get another team built around him.
Jordan could have left and gone to another team with more than just Pippen. He could have went to an All-Star team. He could have if Jordan wanted to go to the Magic, he could have gone to any team he wanted to.
The Jazz? Imagine him, Malone, and Stockton?
But he did it. Okay, but he did it. He wanted so he did that.
Clarence brings up a good point.
What's that?
Triple H went over Chris Benoit. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, this doesn't exist, but yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, and that's my big thing. Also, look at this season. This late in Jordan's career, Jordan still gave 100% within every game.
That's my other argument, here. The heart, the ticker.
Jordan had it.
LeBron does not.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that LeBron might be technically more athletic in a lot of categories. I won't argue that. If you want to say he plays smoother in certain categories and can dunk without the traveling that Jordan does, I'm not going to argue any of that. But the factors that I personally value, heart, that's where it is.
Right. And I get a lot also, when I get into the technicalities of it, I got a lot of, Michael Jordan's, kind of a piece of crap in real life, and, LeBron does all these things for kids.
Not even arguing that.
But I don't care. That has nothing to do.
I'm not a Jordan guy. I want to make that very clear.
The merits of Chris Benoit in the wrestling ring are fantastic. What he did later in his life is absolutely awful.
And by later, you mean the end?
Yes, the last day of his life is absolutely awful. And yes, I agree with that.
Right.
But that still doesn't
That's not what we're arguing about.
Right. That still doesn't mean that Chris Benoit isn't one of the best technical wrestlers of all time.
See, look, if you want to say athletically he's better than Jordan, I agree with you. If you want to say he's smoother and does a better job without cheating, I agree with you. The better personality, all these things you can say, I'm not arguing with. I'm just saying the factors that I appreciate, such as heart, and trying and hustling. I put it. Jordan has that, and that's just something I like a lot. I like John Starks. Is he better than Jordan or LeBron? Absolutely not. But he has more heart. That's why I like him more. That's why I preferred him, because John Starks had a lot of heart. That's the one thing you can't take away from him. He's also underrated.
And look, and LeBron flops way too much. As soon
as something goes wrong, he gives up. He totally gives up. He just totally bails out.
Or it's like, like when he goes, every time.
Jordan was a little soft too.
A little bit, but how many pictures do you see with Michael Jordan trying to put a ball up and he's got a hand in his face?
Dave, Orlando Jordan.
Yeah, I saw that. He likes Orlando Jordan better than Michael Jordan.
Kobe is better than all. Oh, no.
I like Kobe a lot.
Of course,
he's in that conversation, but he's not. Nobody's Michael Jordan.
It's like bringing up. Look, I'm not declaring myself as any kind of remote basketball expert. I'm just pointing that out. That in what I look for, it's the same thing when I was talking about why is Mr. Perfect my favorite seller of all time. It's because I prefer the way he sells.
Right.
I'm not even asking you to agree with me. I'm just saying where I come from. So when you understand my values or what traits I value, I like Brett a lot. Never hurt anybody. I like safety in the ring a lot. So you start noticing certain patterns. Is it my absolute end-all, be-all trait? No.
The Miz hasn't hurt anybody.
But and Miz is not on my top 10, and Rob Van Dam has definitely hurt people, and he's still on my top 10.
I love Rob Van Dam.
But so it's not an absolute, but just here's the pecking order. This is how my brain works. I have categories, and each of them has a value in and of themselves. And depending on where you rank and those combination of those values, that's how I get there. I watched Creed 2 last week. I have never watched a single Creed movie.
Super Ermac, that's a see,
Reggie Miller, no.
So Super Ermac asked if you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a wrestling channel. I never thought this was going.
He asked if you would be a heel or a face. What's your answer?
I would rather be a heel for sure.
You know what's funny? I think on this channel I'm much more of a heel, and I think you're much more of a face. I think that if this was wrestling,
but in the business, I'm a face in the business now. So.
I think you'd be a much better heel than I. I think I'd be a better face than you, which I think is ironic.
I am a face at Capital, so.
Well, you're an announcer. I mean, you're actually not a.
Yeah, but my character that we play outside of just the stuff, I'm always playing it up as a face. And,
yeah.
And I get beat up by the heel, so I just realized I am just completely rondoing this right now, and you just got me to do it on air. Anyway, forget what I was saying. Ignore everything I was just saying. But yeah.
You act like they don't know that on this channel, they don't know the inner workings of the wrestling business.
I know they know, but I've said this before. I don't know how the wrestlers I work with feel about it.
I agree.
Because I don't know their personal take on it, I shouldn't be outing anybody else.
That's fair.
It has nothing to do with me. If it's me all day, but when it comes to other people, I need to respect it. It's also the same thing why I have mentioned Sonny Kiss on this channel. I don't talk about specific aspects of Sonny Kiss and how he works because I don't know what Sonny wants out there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of wrestlers. Same thing with Nyla. Same thing. I say those names because people know him now because of AEW. But everybody in Capital, I've never sat down and had the conversation. Well, how do you feel about this? Maybe they don't care. I don't know, but I never talked to them about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. Or how come some fans harshly criticize Hulk Hogan for refusing to lose but don't do the same thing with Shawn Michaels does? I don't know. It is unfair, Sam Goddard. I feel the exact same way. And again, Hogan did lose and put people over, where Shawn Michaels did not. I am totally with you, Sam. I know this is an easy trigger for me, and I fall for it every time. Maybe there will be a chat where I don't, but now's apparently not that day.
I'm not even going to get into it.
I would be a heel manager.
I'm not even going to get into it.
Good.
Because you're wrong.
Yeah, well, we've had this conversation. I've used, this thing called facts and evidence, but
right, and so did I. And you just choose to just,
like what?
What?
Kipping in the wall. You're not gonna do better than that. When Shawn Michaels puts over Kidman in the wall level people, then we talk. The wall is absolute garbage. I'm sorry. Okay.
Didn't Shawn Michaels lose clean to Chris Masters?
Chris Masters is better by a long shot than the wall.
I don't know about that.
The wall is a big guy, but did he have a stunning physique? Did he have any... Chris Masters couldn't talk. But he talked better than the wall.
He had a good character. He just
terrible. He was just a big guy. That's it. He was a football fan.
He was Berlin's manager.
Yeah, that's even better.
Exactly. He was his heater.
Hogan put over a heater. Masters is still a wrestler, technically. I get it. I'm not a Chris Masters fan, but he looked like $1 million. I understand that.
I like Chris Masters. I was just...
You're crazy if you think Chris Masters is worse than the wall. The wall is as low as the...
but look. And
the only thing you can say better than the wall is if Hogan put over nails. That's like the only notch below the wall.
Here's my...
I'm not 100% convinced they're not the same guy.
I don't know. Anyway, here's my thing.
Billy Kidman's the other. TJ Fritz.
Hogan put over...
The Ultimate Warrior, but that was taken back, so I don't say that. But
Hogan put over a lot of those guys at the very end of his career, the same as Shawn Michaels put over most of his...
I'm sorry.
A while ago.
I did not know
that. A really long time ago.
I take some of it. I had that a little bit.
But, Shawn did put over most of his guys at the end of his career, too. They both, during the highlights of their career, really didn't put anybody over.
That was the... See, if you're just talking... but if you're going to talk just the midpoint of their career, then Hogan put over the Warrior. Again!
Shawn put over Sid. Shawn put over Diesel. Shawn put over Razor.
He didn't put over... You can make the argument that Ultimate Warrior was already over. I'll take that. I'll take Warrior back. You could make that argument. But Diesel was already over when he... he was as over as he was going to get.
And he was...
That's what I'm trying to say.
Him beating
Shawn Michaels did not move him up in his career. Razor, same thing. He was already the dude in the mid-card belt for that. He had already went against Bret for the world title. Beating Shawn Michaels didn't mean anything.
Fine. Diesel, I think... Diesel was, what? When they started their feud, didn't even win the Intercontinental title. Yeah,
he did.
All right, so he won the Intercontinental title. Shawn was at that point wrestling for the world title. Shawn was a lot higher in the pecking order, and Diesel beat him clean.
My biggest case to this is Diesel was 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. Beating Shawn Michaels doesn't mean anything when you're that size. And forget about Shawn Michaels. That's like if I'm gonna say Great Khali beats Daniel Bryan, I'm not gonna say Daniel Bryan put him over because if you're Great Khali, he's garbage. I hate Great Khali. But of course he beats Daniel Bryan. It's no big deal. If Big Show beats Rey Mysterio, Rey Mysterio didn't put the Giant over. It's like...
It's by name value.
He didn't have any. Diesel won a title. Shawn Michaels at the time didn't win a title. So you can't really do that.
Well, they won the tag titles together.
I meant world title. Diesel was already the world champion. Shawn never even sniffed that world title. So... It's not that big of a deal that he beat him, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, fine. If that's the case, who the fuck did Hogan put over then?
I said, because I say it's the Warrior, because Warrior was not a proven main eventer yet. If you want to make the argument that he already was established, fine. I don't think so. I think Hogan got him there, and maybe not from that WrestleMania 6 match, but from the Royal Rumble showdown prior to that, where they faced each other off in the middle of the Rumble, and everybody went crazy in the audience. That, I say, put him over. However, I understand if you don't necessarily want to count that. But I would also say to that argument, it wasn't a direct loss, but this is not just about winning or losing, but I think he helped. It went away, not by his doing, but he also helped to get Bam Bam over by putting Bam Bam in the Survivor Series team and letting Bam Bam go all the way when he got taken out. Bam Bam was a legit over face being on that team, and don't tell me that's not Hogan momentum getting him there. I understand it's not a loss. He didn't lose the Bam Bam. I get that.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that wasn't a huge bump for Bam Bam's career. And it ain't Hogan's fault that he needed double knee surgery. You can't put that on Hogan. So that is undeniable. If you're old enough to remember, I realize we're dating ourselves right now, but if you're old enough to remember, there was a huge jump for Bam Bam's career. Joker Jack says, who cares? Wait, what I miss?
What about Owen?
Joker Jack. Well, how many people put over Sid Vicious?
Shawn.
What? Was he over?
As over as he was going to get. Do you want to use that Diesel analogy you just used?
My Diesel analogy was used against Shawn Michaels, so you're just giving me another.
But what I'm saying is that he was. But the most over he ever was beating Shawn in San Antonio. That's the most over Sid ever was.
I think the most he ever was breaking his leg. Was it an uptick to his career? Like, yeah, I get that he won the belt, but did anyone care? Was it a good run? Like, JBL losing the belt to Cena. Yeah, fine, Cena won the belt. Was he already over? But I think it legitimized Cena at that run a lot better. And seeing the fact that JBL had a long run that he took off from Eddie Guerrero, one of the most beloved guys there was, that momentum helped, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so if you're going to use that... Okay, fine. Yeah. If you're going to use that analogy, Austin.
I'm done, Austin.
It's the same analogy. Cena was
like I said,
Cena was monster over.
Not as over as Austin.
And then he beat JBL.
Don't you dare use that screw job thing, because that is a crock. Shawn Michaels did not have any heat from the screw job in the mainstream audience eyes, so don't go there with that one.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm not saying that.
Austin was way more over than Cena was when Cena won the belt from JBL.
I'll give you that, but it's
not even close.
But it's a very similar situation.
It's a similar situation, but to me, Austin winning the belt was a formality.
TJ, if you're saying HBK got his wins back, when did Hogan never get his wins back? He threw Kidman in a garbage can.
The Warrior is the one that...
He beat him in WCW.
I know. I was pointing that out. That's where I was going. That's the number one thing you...
And he threw Kidman in a garbage can.
Well, what about the Wall?
Did he... honestly, I don't remember. I really didn't watch WCW much at that point. He might have beaten the Wall, too. There's a chance he did.
And here's my other question about Hogan. Name someone specifically that Hogan was told to lose to, and he said no. Other than the Shawn Michaels incident. Because that really wasn't the case with that.
I know that there are cases in WCW where he did the whole...
Him or Bischoff. Him or Bischoff.
The exact words of, that's not going to work for me, brother.
Him or Bischoff.
There are incidences where... Brett, there you go. How's that? Brett, perfect.
All right, that's a good one.
Thank you, Base Up. 100%.
Like, well, you won't refute this one.
And it's true. They had the whole tug of war, what's it called? Thing right after WrestleMania 9 for the SummerSlam match where they were going to tug of war over the belt. They took the pictures and everything. And Hogan was like, no, brother, it's better that I lose the belt to Yokozuna.
It can't be. But, all right. It's fair.
TJ, did you really bring up Jeff Jarrett? Come on. That's not even. That's
true too. But that's true. Fine. Because my problem with all of these are it's been refuted. I understand it by Hogan, and Hogan can't really be trusted when it comes to stuff like that. So I get it. So I'm not really arguing here, and I do think that that's all true. But yeah, okay.
My thing is that and. That's what, True Finish just said. Hogan never cleanly loses.
He was cleanless to Warrior.
To Warrior.
He kicked out, but still,
he did. But Shawn lost clean a lot more than Hogan ever did.
That's fine. That's true. I'm not going to take that away. He screwed over Brett, so it's a push. Well, that's in the heart department. Yes, that is true. But as I say again, Hulk Hogan. One of, if not, some people say the biggest money draw of all time. That is a factor. You have to take that in consideration. Yes, you let the guy win who makes you the most money. It's not even a question.
Harry brings up a good point. Another refusal for Hogan not to win. Perfect was supposed to win the 1990 Royal Rumble.
That's true.
That's right.
All right, you know what?
Good job, Harry.
Okay. All right, good. Hogan lost clean to The Undertaker twice.
Twice? I remember he lost to...
Oh, wait. We're talking about older years.
Oh, yes, the older year one. Yeah, that's fair. Because I do remember...
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought of, too. But
Hogan getting his win back in Tuesday in Texas.
Again, apparently we're old, and we're finding out during the course of this life.
This is horrible. I love how we go back and forth with... And look, guys, me and Dave, by any imagination, aren't actually really old.
Well, I'm older than you by, a good enough chunk.
What, than me?
Yeah.
Not by that much. But we're not old by any sense of the imagination. It's just that you guys grew up during the time when we're talking about the screw job.
Oh, duh! He put over Goldberg! Oh, man, I'm so stupid. What did I think of the day? He put over Goldberg! Wow, thank you, True Sister, yeah.
No, I give you...
I always forget that one. I don't know why.
Yeah, so did I.
I bring it up in conversations all the time about other things, but I never remembered that he put over Goldberg and never collected one back. Clean, no nonsense.
No, I agree.
I don't know why I dogged that one. I dog it all the time.
I give you Goldberg there. I absolutely do give you Goldberg. If you really want to, with Shawn too, I mean, it's hard to say. Shawn probably would put Triple H over too.
Well, Shawn Michaels, I think, hurt the career significantly of. Fine, Hogan has refused to lose as well, but I think the damage to if we look at the people you named that he's refused to lose to, Bret Hart, his career was fine. But we look at the people that Shawn Michaels has screwed over. They were never the same again. Vader, CM Punk, Rob Van Dam. These are guys that never, ever rebounded and never really got to where they should have, in my opinion, because of their backstage beef with him.
What about Van Dam?
If you've ever seen Rob Van Dam go off on him?
I never have, actually. And this is something
I'm not going to repeat that.
This is something I don't know about.
I can't repeat the same language that Rob Van Dam used, but the long story short, that Rob Van Dam says that Shawn Michaels always looked down on him and thought he was an idiot and was useless. And that's...
I did not know that. I absolutely did not know that.
The CM Punk thing, you know about that, too?
What, Shawn and Punk?
Yeah. He told Triple H straight up that he didn't like this guy and don't bother with him.
Fair enough. I mean...
It's like there are certain guys that...
You can't say Punk didn't recover from that. I mean, Punk won world titles and had the longest...
Okay, I'll give you
world title ring. Punk did. Van Dam, I'll give you. 100%. And Van Dam probably would have recovered from that if he didn't get caught smoking pot in the car with Sabu.
But maybe. But still, it was... Yeah, Van Dam, not a big fan of this. Shane Douglas, another guy that... Fine. Rob Van Dam won a world title afterwards, fine. CM Punk eventually rebounded. I think it took a long time, more than it should have. Vader never rebounded. Shane Douglas never rebounded.
I agree with those two. I'll agree with those two.
And I like those guys. I mean, when it comes down to it, Shawn Michaels has pissed off more guys than I like than Hogan has. Hogan pissed off Bret, and I love Bret, but still, outside of that, who did Hogan really make enemy? Okay, Macho Man too. All right.
Yes.
But the list is longer.
How's this? Both Shawn and Hogan are both horrible human beings. They both basically didn't ever want to put anybody over. Both thought they were better than everybody else. How's that? Can we call that a draw now? I think they're both.
However, one of them makes you money and the other one takes your company. No, he didn't, but he didn't make this... Hogan didn't put Vader over either. No, that's true, but he didn't tank him backstage like Shawn Michaels did. Yes, you're right, true sinister. But he didn't tank him backstage to management. And Shawn Michaels had a lot of pull with Vince McMahon. Yeah, Hogan had tons of pull with Bischoff, too. I didn't argue that. But
did you ever say that HBK helped Punk in OVW?
There's an interview to quite the contrary, saying they worked together in the beginning, but then at a certain point, Shawn Michaels, for whatever reason, decided he didn't like Punk. And I understand Punk rubs people the wrong way. I get that.
Was that a Punk saying this? Because not everything Punk really says is 100% accurate too. Sometimes.
Well, do you not deny that Triple H doesn't like CM Punk? Are you?
No.
Yeah. I mean,
no. Triple H hates CM Punk.
Yeah, so
I'm not taking that. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not going there. 100% yes.
Yeah,
But that's another good one. Hogan refused the job to Orton at SummerSlam 2006. That's another really good one.
But I thought we were counting old days.
No, I know. I'm just saying. We were talking about refusal to put people over.
Shawn Michaels ruined Bulldog's career. Thank you. Absolutely.
Shawn didn't ruin Bulldog's career. Bulldog was his own worst enemy.
Dedicated the match.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That is the worst. Like, I can't even count it up.
I agree. There are two things that I completely agree upon. One, Hogan on the Hogan side, guys like DiBiase and Jake the Snake deserved and could have been world champion if not for Hogan. A guy like Bulldog should have been a world champion if not for Shawn. I agree with
that. The match dedication ultimately is the.
I mean, that was just dumb, and I hated that. I really did. I don't look. Here's the thing about certain guys. I don't understand that Bulldog was never a heavyweight champion. I just don't get it.
But see, I do. I'll give it.
I don't. And Owen too.
Owen, I think, was gonna get there.
I don't. Not at the point where he was in his career.
I was told, before he passed, the rumor was, if you notice, his last Royal Rumble, he was in the final 5. Surprisingly, he was like very late in his last Rumble ever. He was doing better, and
is that 99? Are we talking about, or is it 98?
I don't remember. Pick one.
98 Rumble. He was 98 Rumble. He eliminated himself. That was the whole Jeff Jarrett. There was the whole Jeff Jarrett thing.
If I remember correctly, whatever his last Rumble was, he was in the bottom 5.
No, you're right. Royal Rumble 99, he was in the final 5. That was the one that Vince won, and he came in, I think, at number 29. It was him, Austin, Bossman, and D'Lo. So I mean, I don't know if we're really gonna,
No, but I'm just saying look at that. The rumor I was told was he was going to last until Survivor Series. And then it was leading to him, because he was allegedly, the rumor I heard was he was supposed to win the Intercontinental title from Godfather the night.
I heard that too.
And that was going to lead to him eventually getting a main event push going against Austin, where they were going to bring up the neck. He was going to get rid of the Blue Blazer gimmick. They were going to bring up the Austin neck break thing. They were going to bring up the screw job, and it was all going to happen at Survivor Series, Austin versus Owen. And that's what I was told. I have no idea if that's true. It's just something I heard.
I feel like that's something that somebody made up, like after Owen died, just to justify the fact.
I heard about this 20 years ago. And the Royal Rumble was the part of the evidence used to signify where this push was.
Yes, I don't agree with that.
The title makes sense too.
I do
not remotely deny he was going to win that.
Yeah, from the Godfather, absolutely. The Royal Rumble's a little more skeptical, just for the fact that, like I said, D'Lo Brown was one of the final guys too.
D'Lo was over. This
was a little bit before D'Lo was over.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
there were certain. Bossman was the other guy in there, and I get that Boss was in there because he was Vince's enforcer. I got. But I mean, that spot should have went to Shamrock.
But I'm not arguing any of that. But there's multiple. I forgot the other ones, but there were multiple parts of that final year that point towards the idea of him getting a push. It's not the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard. Is all I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't know if Owen would have.
But there is more proof behind Owen getting that push than Eddie getting another world title. There's more proof behind Owen getting that.
I thought Eddie was supposed to win it the night he died.
That's what everyone says, but there's Stephanie McMahon. I read an interview that said Stephanie McMahon said that's just straight up not true. Hogan ended.
I don't. Me and Basic don't always see eye to eye.
Thank you for the super chat. I disagree, but thank you.
That was one of the nails in the coffin of that company, though.
I say this.
That was the best bump Kevin Nash ever took, though.
No. Entering the ring, best bump he ever took.
What, you mean? Ah!
I don't like the finger poking too, but I stress this all the time. The common misconception is WCW went out of business. They didn't. They were bought. There was no nail in the coffin. They got bought. It's not ECW.
No, but their ratings were really low. Look, here's the thing. Look, I agree with you too. I say the same thing. Like everybody talks about how WCW, WCW,
And that's why they went out of business. I'm like, they didn't go out of business.
They didn't go out of business. They got bought out.
Sure, they probably would have gone out of business, but not the right.
But we don't know. We don't ever know if that's the case or not. T. Castillo, I don't believe that. I think that Austin's the biggest draw in the business. Yes, was Hogan on top for a long time? Yes, I think Austin in a shorter period of time made a lot more money. It's the same thing. We're going to go back to the Jordan-LeBron thing. LeBron has the numbers to beat Jordan, but you also don't take into account that he did it in a lot more games than it took Jordan to do it. And those are the things that these are the things you have to take into consideration. I've made the argument on this channel that Hogan was a bigger draw than Austin. I have, and Dave.
It's still one of my favorite episodes we've done.
And Dave put it into perspective for me, and he was right. And I do admit when I'm wrong, and Dave was right about that. And also it's not going to hard to get me off the fence. I'm trying to defend Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I was going to say. No, Nash flipping his hair is the best.
That is a really good bump, Harry.
We like to see Bobby versus Brock ever. Bobby Roode.
Probably Lashley.
Oh, right, that.
Probably.
I can't believe we didn't.
Probably.
I think the clock is ticking on.
It's getting there. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I don't like the finger poking dude. I don't. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. But I don't think the NWO reforming was the dumbest idea. I thought it was fine.
No, I'm fine with that. I really don't like what Tim just said, though. Hogan carried 2 companies on his back, and all Austin did was the right of WWF at the right time. No,
That is not true.
Austin made the WWF the right place and the right time because
they were almost bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
they were not. Yeah, they were in
that was the worst time.
Very bad situation.
Yeah.
And
Mariah, I will give you that. Hiring Russo killed WCW. I know you like Russo.
No, look,
but he did WCW favors.
Yeah, Russo did not do good in WCW. I mean, you're not going to deny that.
Hogan did carry 2 companies on his back. I'm not arguing that, but the numbers don't lie. And in straight-up competition, Austin wins.
Yep.
Remember, Austin had 2 incredible, legendary rivals. Who did Hogan have? Oh, he had a lot.
I mean, come on.
Ultimate rival. Other than the word ultimate, which I don't know is a pun, but also Macho Man.
Macho Man, exactly.
I go to Macho, not just for their backstage beef, but also their in-ring beef, too.
Sting.
Yes. I mean, that didn't
Flair.
That didn't end all that well, but whatever.
Flair. You can, even if you really want to, like...
And not for nothing, The Rock. I know it wasn't very long, but still.
The Giant.
Something that... Or how about Andre? We'll go there.
That, too.
Was it a great match? No, but there was that.
Yeah, it's still one of the biggest in the history of wrestling. And I don't like Hogan, guys. And Austin never went to ECW. We never had still.
And Arthur brings up another point, too. But I understand it takes 2 to tango, though. Buzz on DJZ getting signed with WWE. Want to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Just anytime someone signs with WWE, definitely want to see where they go because, A, are they going to push them, number 1. B, are they going to make them change the style? And something I have wanted to talk about, and I brought up mildly, but Ricochet is probably the biggest surprise I've gotten.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's adapted his style to WWE style very well, I think.
Yeah, he has.
And I thought this is a guy they're going to treat like garbage, and they're going to ruin him. And so far, I was like, wow, this blended together way better than I thought it was going to.
You know, a lot of people are mad. They're like, I can't believe they brought up Aleister Black and Ricochet as a tag team. Why is that a bad thing?
No, I agree. Because it makes you worry that they're going to be Chad Gable and Bobby Roode.
No, but they're both from NXT, and they're
in the Dusty Classic together.
Right, and they're actually getting on TV and getting wins.
But it's still something that it's a fear. It's a fear.
And I think everybody fears. Look, I think everybody fears this stuff. For the wrong reasons. I'd much rather see these guys get on TV, get wins, have something to do for a little bit. Because look, I don't know. There's not anything to prove this yet, but there's got to be roster cuts coming really soon.
Oh yeah, after Mania.
They didn't do it last year after Mania.
That's true, but
there has to be though.
But actually, maybe after AEW launches, then they'll cut the roster. All right, for me, if I'm giving these 2 scenarios, is it better to be on TV collecting wins or being off TV? I'd rather be off TV. And I know that hurts a lot of guys, but Bray Wyatt. If Bray Wyatt had been on TV for these past several months, jobbing, it would have been worse his career than if he was than what he's doing right now.
Jobbing, right?
He's either jobbing on TV. Oh, but you're right. You're saying they're collecting wins,
right?
I get
they are. They're actually
that is a difference.
They're being treated well. EC3, on the other hand,
who?
Exactly my point. Now that's somebody you can complain about, and I'll understand that. That's completely fine.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I don't think it's detrimental. You're right, but I am worried. Or I understand people's fear. I'm not really worried about either of them, but
neither am I.
But I understand people having that fear, though.
I think Aleister has a better chance on the main roster than Ricochet does, though.
Hogan, by far, had the bigger match with The Rock than Austin versus the never world title winning in a major company, Scott Hall. Right now, some World Wrestling Council fan is really pissed off at me for saying that. Chad Gable is wrestling in what looked like his old American Alpha gear.
When?
Apparently now. I bet Gable.
Hey, they broke up. I'm alright with that.
I don't know. You keep talking.
All right.
I think I'm being summoned.
Oh. All right. So who drew more for WCW, Hogan or Austin? Oh, Hogan for WCW, absolutely. EC3. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with EC3, and apparently he's jobbing to Tyler Breeze on Main Event, which Tyler Breeze very funnily tweeted out. Wow, I remember. It's crazy that losing to me is now the worst thing in the world to happen to people, which is pretty funny. Hogan was more recently the top WWE guy than Austin?
What?
What?
I don't agree with that, but he was. They was looking for the other one, not me.
Gotcha.
That confuses me. EC3. No reason the top WWE.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
I think that's true. Who drew more for WCW, Hogan or Austin? Well, definitely Hogan.
Yeah, obviously. Name one person that was in WWF during Hogan's time, besides Hogan, that drew more money than The Rock.
What? I don't understand the question.
I don't understand the question either.
Person that was in WWF during Hogan's time, besides Hogan, that drew more money than The Rock.
Savage? Maybe not, but also you have to,
I don't. My first guess was the Warrior, and I don't.
Maybe Warrior too.
Say that, but
yeah.
And I mean, well, technically the answer is no one, but also Hogan didn't even.
Yeah, Hogan didn't make that.
Didn't make Rock money either.
Yeah. Hogan was
like if we're trying to adjust for inflation, then maybe the argument changes. But Hogan does not have more merch sales according to WWE than The Rock or Austin or John Cena.
Mm-hmm. Hogan lasted in WWE way longer than Austin. He came back because Austin couldn't physically wrestle.
Well, what's the discussion?
I think he's trying. I think the argument that True Sinister is making that Hogan was because Austin had to retire. Hogan's world title came after Austin retired, so in theory, he was a top guy in WWE.
But this is how the argument gets confusing. If you're trying to say who's the bigger star, who did more for the company, or whatever, that's a different argument. If you're talking about who's the biggest money draw, that's still up for debate. It's still for a conversation. But if you go by the hard numbers, it's Austin. And while I understand people can argue it, I say it's Austin. And I have an entire episode dedicating my reasons for it. I have another episode with him talking about it. So
very rare one. It's actually me defending Hogan.
So,
and ultimately probably giving up at the end.
Was the biggest NWO shirt? Was the biggest NWO shirt? Well, yeah, I guess the NWO shirt. But I think it's wrestling T-shirt. It doesn't. The merchandise numbers do not back it up because Austin.
I think Austin 316 outsold the NWO shirt.
It did, and also because
Austin was one person. If you bought the NWO shirt, you were buying a shirt which could have been from 1 or 7 people.
Right.
Hogan is more loved.
That's on the low end. It could have been one of 20 people.
Tim, do you think Hogan is really more loved around the world than Austin? You think there are a lot of young African-American men looking up to Hulk Hogan right now? Hogan had the bigger crowds? Not really!
He did it.
No, he didn't!
Austin has the bigger pay-per-view numbers. Austin has the bigger attendance numbers.
Right, and like I said, I even brought this up that those numbers could be skewed.
Yeah. Due
to the fact that,
and I understand
inflation and the fact that,
well,
there were more pay-per-views for Austin to wrestle on than there was
inflation.
Good night, TJ.
Good night, TJ. Inflation affects money, but attendance sales don't change.
Right.
Stadiums get bigger now, and they are. Austin doesn't even have the record for attendance numbers either. But when we look at ratings don't change. Yes, you can make the argument that more people had cable available to them at a certain point in time. Yes, I get that. But I'm not talking about those things. I'm just talking about money, dollars to donuts. Who's got it? And that is Austin. And also, when people talk about different time periods, I can't stress enough, Austin went against Hogan, and Austin won. The one major claim that people don't bring up is the Hogan has the #1 highest rated wrestling show of all time with the Main Event. It's not called Saturday's Main Event. That was a different show. The episode I'm talking about is called The Main Event, in case anybody wants to get smarky on me. The Main Event has 33 million viewers. No one has even come close to that. However, Austin, going against Hogan Monday night for Monday night, the ratings above, that if you just take that, siphon off that little bit extra that Austin has, compiled, by far make up the gap from that 33. Austin's highest rating ever was over 10. Was over 10 million. 33 way more than 10, but over the entire long haul, Austin by far makes up that difference.
And True Sinister, you're saying nobody was buying an NWO shirt for Vincent or Scott Norton. Sure,
it's true. I'm not
sure, but people were buying for Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. I can tell you personally, my father bought him an NWO shirt because the Macho Man was in the NWO.
Right. And, I unfortunately, I know one person for Disco Inferno, but let's just not count that.
Really?
I don't know.
That's actually great.
No, it's not great. Don't encourage him.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I was a big Disco Inferno mark back in the day.
But you should be buying merch for him.
I mean, fair enough.
Cody Rhodes tweet. All I gotta say on Disco Inferno. Thank you, Cody, for that. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, it was scathingly mean, but I was like, man, you're awesome.
I know.
I'm like, wow, like you went a little harder than you needed to.
Hogan was the top guy in WCW when WWE was losing 83 weeks in a row and Austin was in the WWE. And then WCW lost all their ratings and Austin was the top guy for what, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? How long did it take for WCW to go out of business afterwards?
Right. So, and the attendance numbers, the pay-per-view buys, those go to Austin. And the merchandise sales, they go to Austin. I cannot stress this enough. If you want to say Hogan is the bigger wrestling star, I'm not even arguing that. I'm just talking about pure dollars and cents, just looking at the numbers. Austin has the advantages in way more categories than Hogan does. That's what I'm basing this off.
And you say Austin couldn't fill the Pontiac Silverdome? I think he could have. And guess what? Hogan didn't fill the Pontiac Silverdome either.
That's absolutely true. You know, Austin, yeah, and Austin 316 is the shirt that outsold the NWO shirt, as well as the Hulkamania shirt.
Rock was not the top guy in the WWE from 99 to 2002. Austin was the top guy. Austin was always number one.
Well, he was hurt.
When Austin was out, right. Sure. In that time period, was Rock the guy that they put the business on the end on the end of? Sure.
Because the other major.
But you know who else was also winning world titles at that time? Triple H. You know who wasn't winning world titles when Austin was the top guy? Anybody else?
The other misconception people have is that Rock This Is Your Life is the number one biggest, most watched segment in all overall history, and that's actually not true. It's Austin versus Undertaker, and that happened in May of 1999. And the thing that there's two things that people usually address for that is one, they say, well, that was overrun where it wasn't contested by WCW. That's true. However, that's not what I'm gauging it on.
Right.
Higher ratings equal more money. I don't care how you got there; they still win. I'm not taking away from Hogan when the stupid dog show was on and they had a clean week and Nitro had a week. I'm not taking that away from Hogan, so exactly. I can't take it away from Austin either.
Agreed.
So it was overrun. Fine. Still the highest rated segment. Austin still has it. Nitro never sniffed that number. Not even close. Austin had it by far. I count that.
Right.
So there's that. Rock. There's sadly a bigger argument for Rock than there is Austin. For more of an argument for The Rock than Hogan.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And Tim, nobody's debating you whether Vince Russo put WCW out of business, not Austin. Austin didn't walk up there and just like drop stunners on everybody in WCW and say, "Oh, by the way, you guys are going out of business now." And once again, WCW got bought out; they didn't go out of business.
Yeah. And I'm not claiming that Austin put anybody out of business either, even if that was the case. I'm not claiming that. I'm just saying who drew more money. I'm not saying who took over and dominated and won. I'm saying who made more money. And the numbers between merchandise, ratings, pay-per-view buys, they go to Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what I based this off of. I have several, and ratings, television ratings.
And Degenerate, I'm not saying that The Rock wasn't big in 2000, but you also got to understand that The Rock got really big in 2000 because Austin wasn't wrestling a lot in 2000. Remember what the main event of WrestleMania 2000 was? It was a fatal four-way, and The Rock didn't even win it.
Royal Rambo Radio Show on Thursdays. Give them a listen on MESN.com. Mixlr.
Mixlr.com.
MIXLR.com/MESN.
Or download the app.
Or just download the app.
So much easier.
Greatest pay-per-view, non-Mania pay-per-view is SummerSlam 1998 Austin. Ooh, good one. The Rock was the guy in 2000. And even if you want to say, well, he was the best or my favorite or he was bigger, fine. I'm talking about pure numbers. It's nothing to do with your opinion.
Austin sucked in 2001? When did Austin suck? Can we please?
I didn't like the heel turn.
The heel turn, that was after WCW went out of business. Was it not? Or it was right before WCW went out of business?
It was after WrestleMania 17. And yes, I call it WrestleMania 17. And I have no problem with that.
That's what it's supposed to be called.
So, yes, and it was after. Right after. But I agree with you. And no, I love The Rock. Austin, too. Yeah, the heel turn was dumb. Yeah, it was dumb. You get no argument from me on that one. I guess these guys don't smell what The Rock is cooking. I like The Rock.
I'm not talking anything negative about The Rock. I think The Rock is great. I think The Rock was 1B to Austin's 1A.
Yeah.
And if Austin wasn't around, The Rock probably could have had just as much success as Austin.
And forget about not as good. I agree, it wasn't as good. But, regardless of good or bad, I'm just talking about numbers. That's all I'm talking about. And numbers can't be argued with. There is wiggle room, and I've talked about it in that episode where there is wiggle room, why the conversation's still open. And I understand that I'm also not the end-all, be-all authority on this subject. But there are certain arguments that I know you can make to justify The Rock or Hogan or whoever. But I still feel, I personally feel otherwise. So if you want to argue me, you're allowed to. I'm just saying I don't feel the same way, and I think I've expressed why, my reasons for it.
Tim, you're 100% wrong. Austin was never not over as a face. That's not why he wanted to turn heel. He wanted to turn heel specifically because he wanted to do something. It was his idea, and he wanted to shock everybody.
I think, believe it or not, from me in this particular situation, I think he did it out of Hogan envy. Hogan turned heel and he did good. I could do it better. I'm going to be a bad guy. I'm going to do it better than Hogan. I think that's what it was. I think it was pure Hogan envy. He had a real life, possibly still has a real life backstage beef with Hogan.
Yeah, he does.
So, I know it's coming from me and coming in this particular situation, but yeah, I think personally, I have nothing to back that up. I just think he suffered from Hogan envy. I think that's what it comes down to. But maybe if he had me to tell him all this positive things why he's the biggest draw, maybe he wouldn't feel so threatened.
Based on, you can't make the argument. You said you have to take into account that The Rock helped to inflate Austin's numbers. So you're telling me the NWO, Bill Goldberg, DDP, Sting didn't help to inflate Hogan's numbers?
I don't have to, but B, if I do, then you can also make the argument that Austin inflated Rock's numbers. So it works both ways. I don't believe in taking the, because some people have thrown the thing, without Hogan there would be no Austin. Yeah, and that's fine, but I'm not taking that into account. I'm just talking about dollars and cents. You want to say Rock inflated numbers, but as he said, Goldberg, Diesel, Scott Hall, same thing we're talking about the NWO shirts. Hogan didn't do it alone either. Sting, Macho.
I didn't say Macho.
Multiple occasions. Yeah, you can make the same argument for them too. You think WrestleMania 6 is that big of a gate without the Warrior? You think WrestleMania 5 is that big of a gate without the Mega
Macho
Powers
Man,
colliding? I have to do the tagline for some reason. Wrong. Wait, Tim Castillo, that's wrong.
Really good.
Wrong, man. He was over as a face. Who are we talking about?
Yeah,
he was. Right.
He was.
Yeah. No, he did that. In my opinion, he did it for Hogan and me. But that's just my opinion. Again, no.
Vinny, I love Sean. I love getting on Dave about him, but that's not true. Austin was way over, more over than anybody else.
Yeah, that's insanity. That's just complete insanity.
Okay, true. So that's great. Hogan had a Saturday morning cartoon when the business was more geared towards children.
But fine. You want to give him the ratings numbers for a cartoon? Go ahead, because you know what? I got video game sales that go to Austin when Hogan wasn't allowed to be on video games. More video game sales to Austin by far. More toy sales. Yes, there were Hulk Hogan toys. Way more merchandise goes to Austin. WWE 2K16. What Austin was featured part of the game. You want to give him the Saturday morning cartoon? Go ahead. I'll even just straight up give it to you. But Austin, way more merch sales, way more outside sales. It's not even close. And wrestling related, because we're not taking into account Rock's movies.
C122, H122. Hogan didn't draw blueprints. Vince McMahon drew blueprints, and Hogan and Austin got to play in his sandbox
and
for
as
years.
I said, even if he did, I don't count those kinds of things. I don't look at the precursor who gifted it, because without this guy, then the blah, 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 I want him to do that. We could do that all day. It goes back and forth, because then I would also take away from The Rock because of Austin. But I don't choose to take away from The Rock because of that. I just count what it is, because I'm only talking about dollars and cents, period. I'm not adjusting for this. I'm not adjusting for that. I'm just straight up saying, when you look at the numbers, here's your answer. Austin wins on multiple categories. You agree with this? Okay, that's.
And based up, I do think that I don't know if WCW would have beat WWF would have beat WCW without The Rock. What I do know is that WCW wouldn't have been as over if it wasn't for the NWO, which wasn't just Hulk Hogan.
And I'm also not talking about who would beat who. I'm not talking about who did worse or who beat who. I'm just talking about money. Who made the most money? That's all. That's all I'm talking about.
Right.
And that all of it goes to Austin.
And Marat, yes, they did. The WWE absolutely did add pay-per-views, more pay-per-views to the schedule during Austin's run. But guess who did that first? WCW when Hogan got there. They went to 12 pay-per-view format before the WWE did, and that's when Hogan had gotten to WCW.
Let's also not forget there was a long period of time when Austin was on the program that Raw was only an hour-long show.
That's right.
They had less time for ad revenue. A significant amount of less time for ad revenue, but they still ended up making more ad money. Figure that one out.
Tim, I'm not saying that Hogan wasn't over before the WWE. That's fine. He was over in the AWA. But to a point, Austin was kind of over in WCW, and he was definitely over in ECW.
I'm sorry, C122 bringing out the point. Austin had spaghetti. Hogan had spaghetti.
No, crap. You're right. Pasta Mania.
Sorry. Bad out. Would you have eaten there?
I thought it was wasn't it like a George Foreman grill? The Pasta Mania?
No, it was a place in the Mall of America.
Oh, yeah. No, probably I would. Actually, I hated Hogan, so probably not.
Because especially coming from the particular region we come from, we are particular about a certain kind of food.
And I am Italian.
I'm assuming you are.
Yeah.
I know I am. But
I am Italian, and Lord knows, yeah.
Because everybody in this area is. Like, we're also snobby about bagels.
100%, because our bagels are better than everybody else's.
So, but nonetheless, it's wrestling related.
New York bagels are better than that.
So, okay, because it was Hogan is why, not because, but...
No, the food also. There was just no chance. I was eating somebody else's pasta.
What if the
that wasn't my grandmother?
What if it was the FBI? You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I might.
I'll just go out on a limb and tell you I'd do it anyway.
Yeah,
I will probably
even if it's horrible.
But I would do it.
I would try it just because it was the FBI.
Right.
If it was an FBI pizza,
I would do it for Hogan.
If it was an FBI pizza joint, 100% I'm there. 100% I'm there.
All right.
That's right. Austin does have his own beer. That's a good point.
Prom Friday. Have fun, buddy.
Oh, very nice. Good stuff, Harry.
Well, he's successful in New Japan and AWE Austin.
Easy
on the wildly successful AWA. New Japan, I'll give you. AWA, easy. He was successful, yeah. I wouldn't say wildly successful. If he was wildly successful in AWA, ain't no way he's going to WWF.
Austin had his own custom-made world title. Hogan didn't have one of those.
It's true. But it has nothing to do with who's the biggest star.
I know. People just trying to bring up stupid points, so I wanted to bring up one myself. And yes, Warhawk, I agree that Austin and The Rock both helped each other.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But Austin's biggest rival will not go down as being The Rock. It's always going to be Vince McMahon. And that's the thing that a lot of people take away. Just because the matches in the ring weren't Vince versus Austin, and they weren't, the biggest thing. The Vince versus Austin feud drove the WWE for years. So yes, did The Rock help out? Was he a good foil for a long time? Yes, he was. Did they have some of the most classic matches ever? Yes, he was. Yes, they did. But that wasn't the feud. It was the Vince feud that got WWE where it was.
And repeatedly, when people ask, what's the best feud of all time, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but one of the most common answers you get, best feud, best storyline of all time, Vince versus Austin. It's consistently marketed that way. It's consistently said by multiple experts. It's feud of the year, feud of the century, storyline of the century, and it's going to be.
Oh, interesting. Beth and Natty versus the Boston Hug Connection at Mania. I thought they were doing a fatal four-way match.
I won't be surprised if they have more teams.
They should.
Should Alexa become the manager of EC3? No. I don't want to hate EC3 now any more than I already do.
I don't think Alexa should be a manager for anybody. I think she's more over than a lot of other guys, than most guys on the roster.
She could be a manager for me.
What, your business manager? It's not like you wrestle.
I would for her. You told me you get to hang out with Alexa Bliss a lot, but you got to take a lot of bumps from stiff guys in the ring. I'd say, yeah, I might regret this. And it might shorten my life, but I will.
Yeah, no.
Bring it on, Scott Steiner. Let's go to task now.
Hogan couldn't do a tough enough season. I don't think he knows enough moves to teach. That's great.
Ouch. I'm going to have to check outside what's going on. Continue. Have fun.
Yeah, look, there are not a lot of things that me and Dave actually agree on, but this is one of them. As a matter of fact, I think recently Dave and I have been doing shows where we've actually agreed on a lot more than usual. But, I argued for Hogan, and ultimately, in my opinion, I argued in a losing battle. Dave put me on the spot and said, who do you think the biggest draw in the history of wrestling was? And I said Hogan. And then he said, I think it's Austin. We had the show. And Dave proved me wrong. I don't admit to being wrong a lot, but when I'm wrong, I am wrong. And Warhawk, yes, EC3 in TNA is so much better than WWE EC3. That's also because we didn't get to see a lot of WWE EC3. Speaking of Alexa Bliss, are there people who hate Alexa Bliss? Are the people who hate Alexa Bliss Sasha Banks? I mean, Sasha Banks fans. Maybe? I don't dislike having Sasha Banks. I'm sorry, I don't dislike Sasha Banks. I don't dislike Alexa Bliss. I was a little bit upset about the monster 2-year run that Alexa had, that she was the only person.
She's the only one for me.
Oh, Tim, are you serious? If Hogan was an amazing worker in New Japan, watch any awesome match from WCW. He was a way better worker than Hogan could ever wish he ever was.
Yeah, wow, it took me a while to process that. Look, Hogan is definitely better in New Japan than he was probably anywhere else in terms of technical wrestling. I'm not arguing that. His match with Antonio Inoki is one of my favorites. But yeah, Austin is by far the better worker.
Just so much of a better worker.
It took me I'm actually dumbfounded at the statement because I never heard anyone say that. Yeah,
I'm hoping that Tim's trying to get us riled up. I'm hoping he's trolling us.
Yeah, Austin pre-neck break easily.
Oh yeah,
a better wrestler in every conceivable physical wrestling technical.
Brett versus Austin at WrestleMania is a better match than Hogan's ever had his entire life.
Forget that. Austin versus Brett Survivor Series '96.
Oh yeah, 100% better.
That is even better. Forget about. I don't even need the 5-star match. I'll go to a different well on that one.
How about this? Austin versus Steamboat in WCW was better than any match that Hogan's ever had.
There you go. Absolutely. I don't need to go to the super well. I can.
I thought so, Tim. You had to have been joking.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that caught me off guard because I was like, yeah, I heard, even though you said it right, I heard Austin's the better worker than Hogan. I'm like, yeah, duh. And I'm like, what's the argument? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Did he say the other way around? Like, it took me a second because I just didn't understand it. Can't buy into Rusev Day. I personally hate the gimmick.
I like Rusev Day.
I thought it was dumb and goofy, and it's not how I wanted Rusev treated. But I ain't going to lie, I laughed at it. The first time when Renee Young interviewed it, Rusev, you were related. What that mean? Shut up! I lost my mind laughing.
I think Rusev
he got me to laugh when I didn't think he could.
Yeah, I think Rusev is so much more of a charismatic person than everybody ever gives him credit for.
Actually, when I was a kid, I personally want to see that match. I was a kid. Austin versus Goldberg could have broken pay-per-view buy records. Yeah, it could have.
I think so,
but I don't think it would have.
Oh, Goldberg at his most over and Austin at his most over, sure.
If that was the case, but that physically couldn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had an awesome WCW, WWF crossover match, pay-per-view, yeah, that would have won. The Invasion is one of the highest selling pay-per-views ever.
Yeah. Harry, I like your idea to a point. I just don't think Trish and Lita and the Bellas need to be in the match. I don't think the Divas of Doom need to be in the match either. I think that if they would have did Nia and Tamina, the Iconics, and Kairi Sane and Io Shirai, that's a great 4-corner match, one team representing each brand, and they could have done it that way.
I like where you're coming from, but I do have a question for you, Harry. Now, obviously, if she's going to be in a tag team match, your girl Nikki Bella clearly is going to be with Brie. However,
Brie retired.
Yeah. So with that, pick another tag team partner. If you had to give Brie a tag team partner right now, current roster only, wrestling people, what woman would you like to see? Usof was best when he was a monster hero. Yeah, and that's where I prefer him to.
Yeah.
Dave, you can marry Alexa Bliss, but you have to agree with everything I say for a year. Nope. Because one of the first things you're going to say is that I shouldn't like Alexa Bliss, so that's going to be problematic with my marriage. Dave, is it true that your ringtone is Scott Steiner's? No, it's not. There are gimmicks that are jokes like Rusev and Fandango. But besides that, they're just a trend that dies quickly. Yeah, no, they are. I don't argue that. I'm with the agreement. I prefer Rusev as a monster heel. I'm just saying that gimmick made me laugh, got over more with me than it ever was supposed to. So I give it credit for winning me over when I was going into it staunchly against it. I give it credit for being able to break through that barrier because that's not easy for me. I think you guys know now when I'm bent on hating something, it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, Vinny, I don't hate past divas. I just think that there's great women in WWE right now that don't need to be highlighted.
Nikki Bella and Carmella would be an interesting tag team.
But I think that there are great women in WWE right now that should be highlighted more than older women. That's going to contradict the fact of what I'm going to say. That I get that you want to do the bigger matches on WrestleMania because I know a lot of people complain like, oh, Batista's and Triple H are taking a spot from somebody else. No, but where else is that going to happen?
Allegedly, there are going to be 17 matches this year. So who cares?
Exactly. The show's long enough that everybody deserves to get on the card will.
And even people who don't.
Right. Because everybody's going to get on the card.
Where is Ember Moon? Who knows?
She's hurt. She had
I don't think it would matter.
Shoulder surgery.
A remix of ABGN theme is my ringtone. Cool. I don't know what that is. Should we get the Iconics beating the Boston Convention? I thought they should have won the belts in the first place.
I agree.
Who's better, Goldberg or Rock? The Rock, for me. That's not a question.
No shot.
In my Fire Pro Wrestling, I took John Cena from WWE to Ring of Honor. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, right.
A better match, Corbin or Hogan?
With
Hogan. I don't care. Hogan.
Corbin, just to be in it.
Yeah, they should be Raw's Women's Champion. If they build it right, which...
Vinny, I'm not disagreeing with that. All the talent does draw money.
Not always.
To certain people. But what I do have to say is that I think that a match like Batista and Triple H shouldn't happen anywhere else but WrestleMania.
See, Dream turns out. Winter Soldier, you do have to take into account. I hear what you're saying, but you have to take a lot of into account actual booking. The heel turn cooled Elias off.
You mean the face turn?
The face turn, right? Sorry, the face turn cooled them off, and it's hard to go back because there are people out there who say this in professional wrestling. I don't 100% know if it's true or not. I've thought about it a lot. There's gray areas, and maybe you guys can weigh in your answers and you can help out. You two, Albert. But there are people who say you can never go back. If this is your gimmick, you change your gimmick, then you go back to the old gimmick. It never works out ever. Yeah. You'll never reach the same success. There are people who point that out. There's some people who firmly believe that. And in Elias's case, heel, face, back to the heel gimmick again, exactly the same, nothing changed. They say you can't ever do that. I don't know if that's 100% true. I really don't know.
The only person that I can argue against is Austin. Austin never really changed, even when he was.
Was he the same ever? Was he ever the same again?
Well, after the heel run, when he went back to be a babyface, yeah, he was just as over as he was. I
don't know.
I think he was.
I mean, there was also not much.
There wasn't a lot of meat on the bone there. He was world champion when he came back, and he was definitely over.
Pay-per-view buys say otherwise.
Yeah, but I think it was also the point in the business.
Even so, I'm just saying. The argument is taking Trish Stratus. So what do you guys think? Has there ever been a time where you go back? This is such a simple question. I have thought about doing a video on it, but has there ever been a time you can go back, repeat gimmick, and it works out?
Really, guys? It's 100% confirmed it's going to be Corbin at WrestleMania against Angle? I don't dislike Baron Corbin. Don't get me wrong. I like Baron Corbin. He's not the right guy to choose.
I understand they never capped off this feud.
Right.
I also don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go throw up now.
Have fun.
Keep checking on everyone.
Warhawk, I agree. I think John Morrison was over enough at the point to be a world champion. But, that's me. Better match Hogan or 50-year-old Kurt Angle. Angle. WWE doesn't like to ride the wave whenever a superstar is hottest. Maybe exceptions include Punk and Bryan. I don't know about that. I'd have to really think about it. Austin is a good example of that, though. Balor, to a point, when he first got in, is a good example of that.
Of what?
Winter Soldier said WWE doesn't like to ride the wave whenever a superstar is hottest. Then he said his exceptions are Punk and Bryan. I said Austin. Balor when he first debuted.
Yeah, but is there riding a wave or just striking while the iron is hot?
Yeah, that's the same. Isn't that the same thing?
No, I mean a wave is like in the middle of a point. It's something that gets there where, Punk would be, I think, is a good example of them riding the wave. But let's say they sign Bobby Roode. They were really great to him in the beginning, but Nakamura, same thing. Like.
Undertaker going back to the dead man after the underbiker. That's a good call. Good call. Good call.
That was the one I think of, but I also don't know if he ever recaptured the same magic. But
I think he did.
Because I also don't think he's the same Undertaker. I don't think he's the same Undertaker because he wore MMA gloves.
Right, but that character always evolved though. I mean, we went from the shirt and tie.
But that's why it's a great but he was not really the dead man Undertaker gimmick. You know, he was big evil. He was leather pants wearing. Look, I get it.
Right. And when he came back, he was back to being the dead man.
But this is why I say I'm not sure because he had the MMA gloves. He wore the leather pants. He was not really it was similar, but I don't know that he was really the same. And also, I don't know if he reached the same heights anymore.
He won the world title. I mean, that's just as much as he did before that. He main evented SmackDowns. He was, the focal point of that show for a long time. Feuded with Batista, feuded with Edge, feuded with Jericho.
And how'd he do?
He won a lot of those. He lost to JBL, but, I mean, everybody lost to JBL in that 10 months.
I mean, it's an argument. I'm just saying I'm not 100% sold. Angle is moving like the Iron Sheik. Well, that's, make it humble. Ask 10 random people on the street to name a wrestler. Who do they say? Rulon Gold. Yeah, I know. You can throw up who's the bigger wrestling star all you want. I'm not talking about
that. They made more money.
Right. And nowadays they might say John Cena.
Yeah.
They might say The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock actually might be the actual answer.
Why did Biker Taker always divide people? I don't know why it divides people. It sucked. Where's the argument?
I liked it.
Of course you did. I bet you Arthur Pryor likes it too. I'm so tired of Punk. To hear people talk, he was a combination of Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and Hulk Hogan. But the one I saw, he had Drew Squat. I won't say he never drew squat. He was a low-grossing champion in the grand scheme of things, sure. But he did draw. His shirts sold, not...
His promo breathed life back into wrestling.
And brought back a lot of old fans that had given up, like me. But his shirts sold. I don't want to get into the whole print, how many shirts they printed argument thing. I'm not looking to get there. But he did sell a lot. He did sell a lot of shirts.
He did.
Maybe he could have sold more. We don't
I own 3 of them.
Yeah, he did sell. So say he didn't draw a dime is ridiculous because he most certainly did.
And look, Arthur, I'm sick of the anything that anybody says about Punk now because I don't like the person that CM Punk has become. I don't like how he trashes the wrestling business, which is what made him who he is today. I don't like what he did to Colt Cabana. I don't like the fact...
Case has been thrown out.
Well, the Cabana...
yeah, it's allegedly.
I thought he said he had proof.
He said that, but the judge said proof and threw it out. And Colt Cabana's re-upping the lawsuit again, but the first time, judge just threw the case out. Didn't even go to trial. Judge just said, nope, no case. So...
But, yeah, I just don't...
I've heard a lot of negative stories about Punk. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to...
Yeah, and there's also been positive ones. We know, what he did for Joey Mercury, and that's great.
He's one guy I absolutely love, but I kind of don't want to ever meet him.
Right. That's going to blow the illusion. I like CM Punk. If I could put CM Punk in a time capsule from, where he was as a wrestler from when I first started watching him in Ring of Honor.
Damn it!
Yeah, they are doing that. I'm going to watch it when I get home.
Will be sadder wrestling. Publicly, probably Vince. Personally, I say Hogan.
Oh, God, hell no. The day Vince goes, that's going to be a hard day.
Not for me, it ain't.
Why?
Because Hulkamania is immoral. Duh.
So then Hogan will never die, so then you would be more sad for Vince.
No, you're more sad because that's like an impossibility happening. I definitely don't love Vince as much as you do.
First of all, I don't think Vince is ever going to die. That's first of all.
And you have to be human.
Yeah, the guy sleeps for like 4 hours a night, and he's still alive.
That I believe Tim Garcia. Yeah, Jarrett is not. Yeah, okay. That I'm not arguing with you.
Who's Amanda?
What?
Albert says Amanda is distracting. I don't know who Amanda is. So, all right. So my whole thing is this: Vince created everything. I don't care what anybody says. Vince was the. Oh, Mandy Rose?
I think Mandy Rose is distracting.
Peyton Royce for me more than Mandy Rose, but
wait. Oh crap! But not anymore.
Why?
She worked out too much, and she played Shawn Michaels in the photo shoot with. So Mandy Rose off the list.
Oh my God, you're the worst. But yeah, no, Vince created everything we have.
But he's also ruined tons of things. That's why it balances out.
I don't believe that either.
I'm not saying he's the reason why everything was ruined. I just think he ruined a lot. And I get it, but he entrusts way too much to that idiot daughter and his doofus son-in-law.
Oh wait, you mean the guy who everybody wanted when people?
Yeah, I don't want that. When people say I don't want that,
Vince needs to die already so that Triple H can take over the company. And think that he's gonna because everybody has this great view of Triple H in their mind. I know not you, but everybody has that great view of Triple H in their mind that well, when Triple H takes over, he's gonna run WWE like NXT. Raw can't be run like NXT. It's not physically possible.
That's a cool dream match, Harry. But also, NXT is run poorly. Yes, is it booked well? Sure. Is he head booker? No. He employs other bookers and writers to run NXT while he's doing his other, Triple H is doing his other stuff. But from a financial standpoint, NXT is hemorrhaging money! These are things that cannot happen with Raw. First of all, even if he goes on, and I will defend Vince to a slight extent, that it's a publicly traded company, it has a board of directors. Vince cannot necessarily make all decisions because his board of directors has got to be made happy too. There are people who have a say in it. Maybe he has more say. That's not the point.
Which is why Brock Lesnar is in the position that he's in.
There's still arguments for it. However, it's still making money. You may not like the product right now. I don't like a lot of it. But it's making money. They got paid $1 billion for Saudi Arabia. They got paid another $1 billion for Fox.
And
NXT is losing money like there is no tomorrow.
And their stock price is almost at $100 a share right now.
If that same business acumen gets applied to Raw, we have a huge problem. And it's even worse. Raw's not there to take care of NXT, and maybe Triple H will change. But with that, if Triple H produced financial, again, we're just talking about money, not talking about booking, not talking about what you like better. I like NXT way better than Raw. But if that happens to Raw, huge problem. That really hurts the entire business. And if you say it's good if WWE goes out of business, no, it won't be. Competition raises business. It will flood the market, will flood the indies with wrestlers who can't afford to pay, and tons of people will be getting paid a lot less if they just want to keep wrestling. And we'll see a lot of people go away because they can't be afforded, or if they do, they're going to be wrestling for much less money. And it's really hard once you start having houses, business expenses, and investments, and bills to pay, living at this lifestyle, trying to live at this lifestyle. You just can't do it. WWE going out of business would cripple everybody. It would drastically hurt the industry. You might get some benefits and say, hey, cool, I got this, but for the most part, won't end well.
Agreed. Here's the thing. You guys can talk all your...
Oh, Jimmy James, thank you. Yeah, I meant to say you could if you could put it on YouTube as an unlisted video, or I forgot to get back to you. Sorry about that. Or drop it on Discord. But thank you, I appreciate that.
I was like Bubba Ray Dudley, apparently. I don't know. That's what I was told. I guess the shaved head, the similar facial hair, and the glasses.
But you get, Dave, did you know Jordan Oliver wrestled on Grimm's Toy Show? You love the Grimm's Toy Show, and I did. Yeah. Jordan Oliver, awesome dude. Awesome dude. Dave, both notes, Ibushi, he just lost Zack Sabre Jr. Really? Wow. Did not see that coming.
No, not even in the slightest, actually. We just talked about how much we thought Ibushi was going to get pushed now that his dates are... Wow, that's crazy.
I still think it's Okada, and I want to see Okada win that title.
Me too.
I will be there live in the Garden. I want to see that happen. I don't even care if he's not supposed to win the belt back. I don't care.
Bullet Club for life. Why are you asking if I'm high? I don't understand that one.
No, he is not. Dude, Brock makes $12 million a year. Not currently. He used to. He just made a paltry $6, according to the recent release from sampled from 2018. He makes a paltry $6 million. Yeah, I gotta check out something again.
I just got here a few minutes ago, and this is already more entertaining than Raw. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. WrestleMania 35 will be 8 hours this year. You might be right. WWE makes more money from the business deals than it does from direct revenue from consumers. Yes, 100% agree. That's why they're great business people. That's why Vince McMahon is a great business person. Because that's what he does. He makes money without having to make his company make money for him. WWE main roster needs to be more like a wrestling show. No, it doesn't need to be more like a wrestling show. It needs to be booked better than it has been recently. My whole thing about the WWE being booked as a wrestling show is that there's no, like Dave said, NXT doesn't make money. The reason why WWE is booked the way it is because it's a sports entertainment product. It is giving the athletics, but also at the same point putting story and work and and stuff behind it. Albert, why do you think WWE won't let people wear Ring of Honor shirts, but not AEW shirts?
They're buttholes.
Here's the thing.
Oh, did you want a serious answer?
I don't think that. I don't think the WWE is telling people they can't wear AEW stuff to their shows. Just not people that are going to be in the front row on the hard cam the entire time. That's when you're going to have a problem.
Which is caca, but whatever.
You mean somebody just marketing another show for 3 hours on your show for absolutely free and not making any money from it?
Yeah, because I saw tons of NWO shirts on WWF TV and during the Attitude Era, and you know what? It did pretty darn well. It's dumb to do that because it puts you in a position of looking weak. It makes you look like you feel threatened. If you welcome especially the same thing with taking cheap shots at your competition. WWF has done it occasionally, but for the most part, they avoided taking shots at their competition. Other companies take shots at WWE all the time, but they never did that because they feel that it makes it look like they're in a position of weakness. And I agree. If you tell people they can't wear this, it makes you once again look like you're in a position of weakness. And weakness is bad for business. If you look like you don't care and you could care less, wear all the things you want, wear the NWO shirts, go ahead, we don't care. That's what they did. You look like you're in a position of strength, and it works. WWE did very well back when they were allowing NWO shirts in front rows. WCW did really well when they allowed it Austin 316 shirts in front rows, and everybody was happy. This banning shirt process, even if you're in the front row, is just stupid, and we have precedent to say why.
The difference is that there's a bigger buzz over AEW than any other place now. And the thing is that WWE didn't have the same marketing scheme and
If you want to tell me AEW has a bigger buzz than the NWO back then, that's insanity.
All right, I'll give you that.
AEW has yet to prove anything yet.
Cody and the Bucks set that up knowing that it would happen, but imagine if somebody went to an AEW show, or WWE signs wearing Roman Reigns shirts. AEW doesn't care, and they can't care, because AEW needs every single fan to give them every single amount of money that they possibly can.
Now, Nikki Bella. Now, I'm rooting for AEW. I talked about why I think they're going to be good, but I'm just saying that the AEW at this current juncture should not be anything the WWE feels threatened by, especially because it's not going to put them out of business. It's just not how business works. Nikki Bella and AJ Styles as Mixed Match Challenge. I'd rather see Nikki Bella and John Cena because then they could work up their couple split into like a storyline program. But that's just me. What's wrong? But yeah, so AEW, I'm rooting for, man. I have my my whole supply and demand reason for why, but I think that's how you go. I equate this to the argument people make about the screw job and justifying that Vince couldn't let the WWF belt be on WCW TV. Why not? The WCW, the NWA title went on to WWF TV, and then WCW started doing better afterwards. The light heavyweight and the women's champion were both on WCW TV, and then right after that, WWE started doing good again. So anything, Presidents tells you that it doesn't hurt your business. It doesn't make you go under. I feel the same way about the shirts. It doesn't change anything because we have Presidents to show that you can succeed while doing the exact thing you're trying to avoid now. And when you forget that, that's a problem. It's just pure pattern recognition. That's all I do. I look at the business, I look at the patterns, and I see that, and I say, well, there you go.
Warhawk, you're right, and this is the point that I was going to make to you too. Vince is hypercritical, and it just depends on Vince's mood. If Vince is like, well, screw this company, I don't feel like having their crap appear on my television program, tell that jerk off to turn his shirt inside out, then he's going to do it. In 3 weeks, when Vince doesn't really care about AEW anymore, he's just going to go, oh, they're wearing an AEW shirt?
Well, here's the thing that drives me crazy. So he's going to be this uppity and angry about AEW shirts, but yet he doesn't know who DDP is. How is that okay? He knows what AEW is, but he doesn't know who DDP is.
I don't think Vince knows who have the people that wrestle outside WWE who are. I don't think Vince knows who have the people wrestling WWE are.
Saying. And the one thing I would love about this story is, on story-wise, just not kayfabe, not wrestling, but just in life story, that if AEW really does have any sort of, if AEW really does put a hurt on WWE again, I don't think it will, but if it does, the amazing part will be Vince created his own enemy this time, where Turner kind of created his own with Vince. Like, the whole process started because if things went down completely differently, Vince McMahon wouldn't have become Vince McMahon. And it only happened that way because of what happened with Turner. If Cody becomes what AEW blows up, Vince will only have himself to blame, which I find weirdly,
Yeah.
Vince didn't know Faceless was... Yeah, Luke Gallows, there you go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't know that, but he knows AEW and isn't mad enough about it.
Tim, WCW was ran by Russo, so if you want to talk about people who don't really have experience and that you have no room to talk about because Vince Russo didn't have any experience in that. All right, look, we can rip on Russo all we want.
But we can also make this argument too. Eric Bischoff didn't really have an experience either.
Right.
You could say, and it shows, you could make the argument that, well, that shows, but you could also make the argument that was a good thing, and that's why they got the 83 weeks. So you could pick your poison on Bischoff. You could say either Bischoff having no experience is a good thing or a bad thing. Up to you. Based up another chat, thank you. Book the Rock in AEW. Whoa. I am a sucker for Rock versus Jericho matches. I do love that feud, but I wouldn't want to rehash it. But that is tempting because of how much I like the two of them together.
I think that Jericho just talks about he's the biggest star in the company, and The Rock comes in and he goes like, well, not anymore.
I can't do it. But
not anymore.
But I mean, when Jericho reversed the people's elbow into the Lion Tamer, I wanted that, and I couldn't believe it actually happened. Because I'm like, they're not going to do that. I marked out when I saw it, because I was begging for that. The promos, too, I love together. But I want you to know how tempted I am to make that the answer. I can't, I shouldn't. It makes no sense. I have to move on. I have to pick a current guy. I want that match, though. I want it again.
I mean, a heel Cody, or honestly,
it's Kenny Omega.
Hangman.
It's Kenny Omega. Rock and Kenny Omega. I have to do it.
Hangman.
I have to do it.
They're both too big.
I have to do it.
Who's getting booed in that scenario?
I don't care. Because
I'm sorry, you're right. AEW is going to be basically the Indies' wet dream, and there aren't going to be any heels or faces, and they're just going to be 5-star matches with no stories.
No, it's not even that. I know this is not as good, but The Rock fills the Okada role, the braggart, the showman, I understand this is leaps and bounds of difference. So, I don't even believe the words that I'm saying, but I'm just trying to say that storyline positioning-wise, Rock fills the Okada role. storyline, character, gimmick only. And that's where we go. That Omega, the storyline is Omega really doesn't like showy, flashy people. That's the storyline I would pitch for this. Yeah, you're right. It's AEW. There's a shot. There is no story because there's no creative team. But I still think as soon as JR signs, that will change. That's what I have this hidden belief for.
JR did time.
What?
JR did time.
His contract's up? I thought at the end of the month. I know.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
I know he's hinted at it.
I thought you did it right. No, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right.
I don't have anything to bank that on. I just believe that maybe JR will be creative, their version of creative. Just like they pretended like there's no Kenny Omega wasn't signing, and then he signs and says, "Yeah, of course he was always signing. Don't be stupid." Yeah, and he's one of the executives too. Like, of course he is. But I would pitch it that Omega has a problem with showy, flashy guys that he feels are overrated, and Rock goes in there. Similar to the Jericho Omega Alpha versus Omega idea, saying that you were a flash in the pan, I am the big deal. So that is how I would pitch a story. I know that's not what they would do, but that's how I would pitch it from a storyline standpoint. And I would take that feud, and I think Omega can carry The Rock to an interesting match, but I think The Rock can use his storytelling ability to carry Omega in that sense. So I actually think it works better that way.
You know that we keep saying the words The Rock, and he wouldn't be able to be The Rock in AEW, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
the Dwayne versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah, it would be Dwayne Johnson versus Kenny Omega.
That's so weird to say.
Warhawk, you say if AEW starts kicking WWE's ass, I'll stop you right there. Not going to happen. Look, the thing is that...
But the rest of what he says is funny.
No, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
That's actually funny. Silver Spoon Cody's. Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, In the event that it does happen, that would be funny. I don't think they'll do that again, but it would be funny. Everyone is smart now, and everyone has the net. That's true. Dana really does look way different. What happened? She said, because this is now Ashley, or whatever her real name is. This is she said that on social media. This ain't Dana anymore. This is Ashley. Because apparently the women's division has 2 requirements in the past couple of years. One, you have to have a best friend.
And you have to break kayfabe.
Then you have to break kayfabe. Like this, like every year they tack on like a new requirement for women that doesn't exist for anyone else. So I don't know why, but evidently this is the new rule. Not saying I agree with it, and when we came into the show, we actually thought we were going to be talking about the Ronda kayfabe thing, and I don't think we mentioned it once until now.
Not once.
WWE going to crush. I don't think they're going to crush AEW either. I don't think it's about crushing. That's not how the business.
They're not going to be competitive. There's no competition.
Until we have a TV deal, but even so, they're not going to be competing head-to-head against each other because they're not stupid.
And not only that,
I think it hurts the smaller companies more than anything else, which I mentioned. I think certain smaller companies are going to go away, and while they might have working relationships, if they do have, with smaller companies, if they have signed contracts deals, yeah, you could work for TNA. I'm giving an example. Let's say you could work for TNA and AEW, but if you sign a contract for AEW, you get a bigger paycheck. Where do you think you're going? That's how I think it hurts. And yeah, sure. You might just, stay signed with Ring of Honor, man, and say, cool, I'll wrestle for AEW once in a while if they let me. But I could take this guaranteed contract to be exclusive to AEW that they're offering me that's worth more money. What are you going to take? If that happens, which it might, that is what hurts the smaller companies.
Right.
And even if they say it's a date-by-date basis, we pay you date by date. Well, AEW is going to pay me this amount of money for this date, or I could work in Akron, Ohio for this amount of money. You're going to take the AEW date. And again, that's how it hurts the indie companies. That's the thing that some people don't see. So I think it's more likely to hurt smaller promotions than WWE. And again, I got to check to see when the kiddies are leaving.
You know, my whole thing is this. I don't want AEW... I don't want AEW to fail. Obviously, I don't want AEW to fail. But I get sick of the people starting to tell me that AEW is going to be this big deal for such a long, and they don't have, a TV deal yet. They don't have, they have a quarter of a roster. Winter Soldier, how many months till AEW starts streaming on Twitch? If they might do that if they don't have a TV deal. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is guaranteed. So anybody who's saying that AEW is going to be the bigger, sorry, I dropped my phone. is going to be the bigger, bigger than the WWE is crazy. And Winter Soldier, I don't know if they're going to be the second coming of TNA, but, oh, great. Great, that whole Ronda thing, that's great. Oh, Base Up, you pulled that out while Dave isn't in the room, but this will be hard. Book a WWE invasion of AEW, but you have to use Dean Ambrose leaving WWE as the starting point. Okay, so WWE is invading AEW, and Dean is leaving. So does that mean that Dean is leaving and going to AEW? Or is Dean leading the charge from AEW to with the WWE to AEW? I'm confused about that part. Stop hating on them. They got the keys to the kingdom. Cody, the Bucks, Omega, go to wrestling. It's just too easy. My whole thing about it is that let's find out. So Dean is invading AEW. Okay. All right. So I think that the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, whatever the main event is on that show, if it's Jericho versus Omega, I think after the match is over, Ambrose runs in, hits the dirty deeds on both guys, and walks out. Now everybody's going to say, oh, that's great. Well, Dean Ambrose is in AEW. Then he comes back the next week, does the same thing to a couple other guys, and basically picks up the microphone, throws down the gauntlet. You got another super chat.
Finish up with the super chat. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about now.
This are one to book an invasion AEW. Use Dean Ambrose leaving it. Yes, I do, and thank you. Okay, excellent. Continue.
I think so. My point was, so he said that Ambrose is invading AEW. So that means that Ambrose is working for WWE is my way of thinking, right? So he's invading AEW. We think he's going to leave. So at Double or Nothing, after the main event, I'm guessing it's going to be Jericho versus Omega. Ambrose comes out, dirty deeds, both guys, leaves them laying, and walks. Everybody's like, oh, well, that's great because now Ambrose is in AEW. Then the next, when they start their TV deal, Ambrose comes out, does something similar, and is like, I don't work for this damn company. As a matter of fact, I don't work for any company. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, and walks out. Ambrose goes crazy for a little bit until the point where a couple of guys go to stop him. Maybe it's the Jericho and the Bucks are the ones that are chosen. And they're like, well, bring, what, you think it's great? Fine, bring two guys with you to face us. Let's see what you got. And then bang, it's the Shield versus, Jericho and the Bucks. That's the main event, and we find out the whole time that it was WWE behind it. Ambrose invades.
See, I go the other way with it. Ambrose teams up with Jericho, and then we start noticing a pattern. And I don't know if this would be the reveal, but I would make it a small reveal where Cody starts going by Cody Rhodes again, just see if anyone notices. And they're like, wait a minute, I thought he legally could do that. And that is you letting people, it's like a subtle thing to let people know, no, it's because they're working with WWE again. That's why he's allowed to do this again. And then maybe Pac goes back to Neville and just really see when people start noticing this. They're like, wait a minute, I thought legally they can't do that. And that's how you make the WWE guys invade AEW.
That's not bad.
And then on the reverse end of the spectrum in WWE, though, I would have a lot of guys like your AJ Styles, your Indy Darling, your Finn Balor's, people who aren't even in AEW, but I would have them turn on WWE, even Seth Rollins, and then have it go that way too. Again, the Bucks versus the Shield.
I mean, that makes sense. I said Jericho and the Bucks versus the Shield because I think it would be.
But I'd rather Kenny and the Bucks.
And now that I think about it, I would do that, and I'd also, in my scenario, I'd have Jericho turn his back on AEW and side with WWE.
Right. But I like the idea of the name play because it would just be something that people are going to wonder about, and it's not everyone's going to catch it. But like, wait a minute, how is that possible? Well, isn't he legally not about? I guess he got the name right back or something like that, and then Neville, and just keep doing them until people are saying, wait a minute, whoa.
Hold on, look. Winter Soldier, I get your hype for AEW, but they're not bigger than WCW. They don't have. They have. I don't know if they have more money. It's in a similar range. Ted Turner had a hell of a lot of money, and you can't say they have better wrestlers because WCW at the time had the best wrestlers in the world in their company. They had Benoit, they had Guerrero, they had Malenko.
It depends on when you're talking about it. WCW's launch, no. WCW eventually, yes. For their launch, they had Flair and Sting, yes, but
yes, not their launch, fine. But I'm just saying
they didn't have Macho.
He's just saying in general, not in general.
But that's a semantical argument, and that's a subjective argument. If you want to say you like AEW's current roster better than any WCW roster, that's fine. I can give it to you. I mean, I don't agree, but fine.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree.
I think we're saying AEW is not going to succeed if they manage to get it right. They can't. I think they will too, as my episode talked about it. If they do the right things. I told you so. Also works with AEW fans who think that it's the greatest thing ever. But I think the supply and demand is there for the business. That's what I see. But if you want to say they have a different, which roster you like, it's subjective. It's up to you. We want to say where the money is, adjusting for inflation of all the things, it's negligible. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. But where AEW has a bonus, or where AEW has the advantage, is they have the advantage of living through WCW, ECW, TNA. And so forth. And while I don't like talking about who set the precedent, who set the wheel or another, in business strategy it does work because they see what not to do. And unfortunately, that is a factor. And unfortunately, the other company's failures might tell them. And one of the major things that they learned from TNA is not to compete with WWE before you're ready. It's my Art of War episode that I talked about, the same thing. You don't engage your opponent when they're strongest. You engage them when they're weakest. You attack them where they are weak. I know this is getting like super deep right now, but you attack them where they're weakest. AEW is going to win in a certain aspect that there is, and I talk about this again in the supply and demand video. Yes, there is an itch that WWE is not scratching for certain people. How many people? Different story. But there is a specific niche out there that's not being catered to by World Wrestling Entertainment.
And I say this all the time, Dave disagrees with me. It's a vocal minority.
But whatever the case, if you scratch that itch, that is you attacking your opponent where you are weak. But you do not attack them where they are strong. You do not attack them when it comes to ratings, television ratings. Because you were starting at 0 and they have 2.1 or whatever.
Right.
Not a lot. It's more than what you have.
Right, and with the Soldier, you can't say it's going to be a dogfight between WWE and AEW when we don't even know if AEW is going to be on television. But do they have potential? That's fine. How many wrestlers do we see debut in the wrestling business that have the unlimited amount of potential and wound up being nothing? It happens all the time.
But companies, you can't gauge companies the same way you would gauge individuals.
Okay, fine. TNA was never set out to be like this great thing. You know what? You know who was the company that's supposed to set out to scratch an itch at WWE wasn't scratching? Ring of Honor. And they've been mildly successful, to put it best.
But that's the key of success. You attack if you scratch a certain itch. They have to scratch others too. That's where we're at. I get how much money WCW pissed away. I understand that. It's negligible in the amount of where it goes for your production, where it goes for how much you spend. It's how you utilize it. I think it's negligible because adjusting for inflation, that's where we're bordering. I understand how much WCW money lost and pissed away. I get it. I'm not arguing that. I'm just looking at it for where they're going to use it. WCW's one of the major advantage was that they were able, with their bankroll, to compete with WWE from a production standpoint. Well, you can make the argument back and forth who actually physically looked better, but Halloween Havoc, elaborate set.
Yeah.
You think some podunk indie company was going to be able to crank out sets like that? They couldn't.
And that's where ECW was so good at accentuating their negative positives and hiding their negatives.
Exactly.
So they couldn't compete with WWE for production. What did they do? And this is straight out of the ECW DVD. Right. Wildest brawls, best wrestlers.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So you will be successful in terms of that specific thing. Financially successful, that's a different story, but you will be successful in terms of catering to a specific market. So AEW is going to scratch an itch that WWE fans that certain fans are not being serviced by when it comes to WWE. They will be successful in catering to that specific goal. Does that translate to money? That depends on a lot of other factors. But if they play their cards right, it can and will translate to money if they play their cards right.
And here's my thing. To be completely fair,
possibly TNT, and I would love that if that's the channel they're on.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me see what these kids are doing now.
To be completely fair, I love the fact that Jericho is in AEW, and that's what. And look, you can see it right here. I'm wearing a Cody shirt. I love Cody. I love the Bucks. I love Omega. I love. I'm a huge Adam Page mark. AEW before Jericho got on and was announced on was just another. It was just Ring of Honor / New Japan. That's cool. It's a great thing. But that's still catering to that same market. And my whole thing is that we're talking about AEW's going to have all these great ratings and they're going to sell out all these shows and we all know it because they're going to be doing all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah.
And they might.
But New Japan is who is just as much of just as big of a name than AEW because AEW doesn't have a name, is having trouble selling out shows in the U.S. Ring of
Honor do not have the accessibility that AEW has the potential to have. Yes, it's all potential. This is all hypothetical. I'm not arguing with that.
It is hypothetical.
But
that's my
point. The bankroll that they have and being an American company that affords them opportunities that New Japan and Ring of Honor don't get. I know Ring of Honor is an American company.
Yes.
But with the amount of money they have, the Ring of Honor channel, I never got. I couldn't watch it in my house. I'd have to go to my friend's house to watch it.
Me too.
New Japan, I don't have that channel. I can't watch it. I have to go to my friend's house.
I do have Access TV, but it's behind schedule.
Yeah. I don't have access to it. And yes, I know there is the internet.
What cable provider do you have?
That was the same one we have at the school. Do you think if we had New Japan at the school, you think I'd be watching it right now? I mean, don't you think I'd have that on?
No, so whatever you guys have that doesn't have the Ring of Honor or...
Oh, damn. So, anyway... If that was an option, and yes, I know there's the internet, but also realize people don't go through the effort to watch things on the internet. And you're like, well, fans should seek that out. Yeah, but not all do. The casual fan is the person you want. The casual fan are enough of the masses to make you money. You may not like them. You may think they're dumb, but they are the people that you need to stabilize yourself financially. And those guys are not going to seek out things. You're like, MLW is free on YouTube. Yeah, it is. Doesn't mean your casual fan is going to go out of their way to watch it. They won't. If you were on terrestrial television, on the other hand, non-cable television, better chances. But let's say you have the lead-off from, I don't know, I'm just throwing out hypotheticals. Don't think I'm being serious here. But let's say you had the follow-up from a Atlanta Falcons game. Maybe you get a little more watchability then. Atlanta Braves game. Yes, I am doing that on purpose. I am really trying to drive home a point here. But let's just say it's something else. Let's say you have a lead-in from another show that does well, that fits a similar motif or similar demographic. Because, yes, sci-fi didn't really work because after I watched a Discovery Channel, after I watched some program about what happens if dinosaurs got invaded by aliens, no, watching ECW wasn't the next thing on my mind. But these things help bring ratings. They don't always, but it's a big boost. And if it's a channel that the entire country has, yeah, that really helps your numbers. Ring of Honor's failing comes from not having that ability. New Japan has that failure from not having that ability. And I said it in the business video again. When we look at YouTube, you say everyone's got the access to the internet. Everyone can watch on YouTube. Yeah, they can, but let's look at the numbers. 1 million views on a YouTube. Yes, I know there are YouTube videos that have way more than that, but 1 million is considered really good for YouTube. 1 million views on Raw would be a joke. Vince McMahon would lose his mind if he only had 1 million views on television. For television, 1 million is nothing. I mean, 2 million right now is where WWE has over doubled that right now, and they still aren't happy.
Yep.
So
with the Soldier, I'm so really confused. You're talking a lot about how you think that AEW is going to be successful. Then you're talking about how the vocal minority is small. The vocal minority are the ones you're saying that are booing Ronda. Those are the ones that AEW should be targeting, is it not? So then AEW wouldn't be popular if that's who you're expecting to be their top fan base.
Oh,
am I right? Thank you.
Keep going. No, I'm just going.
And that's my thing. I think AEW has a ceiling. They had to bring Pritchard back to get something done. Yeah, okay, AEW has more money. That's great. Money doesn't equate ratings. You know how many shows had large budgets? Movies had large budgets, major stars in them, and the trailer came out, and everybody was like, meh. And that's great. The cons may have all that money. That doesn't mean they're investing all of that money in AEW. Their AEW is going to have a specific budget. Vince McMahon is investing almost all of his money into WWE. He just pulled out stock money to invest into XFL. So, but that's not Harry. I do have to tell him about that. I didn't yet, but that's not the same thing. And Tim, money isn't pointless. What's pointless is talking about somebody's bankroll. Yeah, Winter Soldier. Vince is investing his own money into AEW. The WWE doesn't need any more money invested in it. They make enough money to sustain themselves. AEW can't say that yet because AEW doesn't make any money because AEW isn't a viable product right now. It's just a t-shirt company right now. I'm not dumping on it. I want it to be successful. I want it to be more than that. But right now, AEW is a t-shirt company. That's all they are. They're selling shirts. Proof that money isn't everything. 5-Star Wrestling. 5-star matches are appealing to certain people. That's it. They're appealing to certain people. Guess what? 5-star matches don't equate ratings either. Because what was the buy rate on the whatever the Omega Okada match was? What was that? Wrestle Kingdom? Was it bigger than WrestleMania? Because there was no 5-star match on WrestleMania, but WrestleMania still outsold it. And Tim, you're right. XFL is getting $500 million. That's great. He also has other people investing in it. Winter Soldier casuals. Some casuals are going to go there. Some casuals. That's not saying a lot are. Because a lot of casuals probably don't even know what AEW is. If they do, they know about it because of Chris Jericho. Will they keep them there? Maybe. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be a lot, though. And Sinister, yeah. YouTube views, that's great. Ticket sales, fine. All In doesn't count. All In was not AEW. All In was an independent wrestling show. Does Double or Nothing count? Does the show in WWE is dropping, and guess where they're going to go to? AEW. No, they're not. They're going to leave. They're going to leave watching wrestling. It's the same thing as what they did in WCW. When WCW went out of business, all those fans, there were 8 million. They say there were 8 million people watching wrestling at one point. Where did they all go? They stopped watching. There are casual wrestling fans. Most of them are WWE fans. They couldn't name you 5 guys that don't wrestle for the WWE that weren't in the WWE prior. I don't think that's where they're going. AEW has a lot to contend with. I don't know what their business model is, but the first thing I'm going to say is not having any writers is a bad idea. Wrestlers can't run the business themselves because they're always going to put themselves on top. And even the guys who don't want to put themselves on top are going to get shafted by the guys who are just going to be better businessmen and go over everybody else. Because if that's the case, everybody wants to be that guy. Owen was amazing. They did that without the cons. Imagine the network ads and television behind a billionaire who owns the Jaguars. Well, see, all right, I'm going to tackle all this in one. Joker Jack, your comment too. Here's the big thing. And hold on, I'm going to get back to your medical services. I'm going to get back to yours in a second. They might stop there. They could. And then we'll see if they stay there. I don't think that they're going to go there specifically because there's a name and they're going to stop there. The cons, yes. Will they add something? Sure. Will Double or Nothing be a better production? Absolutely. But Winter Soldier, you're assuming that every Jaguars fan is going to be a wrestling fan. That doesn't translate. Dave's not a football fan, he's a wrestling fan. And I know a lot of people who are football fans, like the guy who co-hosts my show, The Opening Whistle, who aren't wrestling fans. Just because the Cons own the Jaguars doesn't mean that's going to translate to all of them going there. And that's Gentox Medical Services. Wrestling fans didn't stop because a bunch of people died. That's not why fans stopped watching wrestling. Wrestling fans stopped watching wrestling because there wasn't the competition, and WWE's quality went down. That's what happens.
Still on this, huh? Finally, those guys left. They never leave.
Literally 40% of Jaguars fans get matched with already AEW fans. Winter Soldier, you're not getting the point that not every Jaguars fan is going to be a wrestling fan. That doesn't make a difference. I get that he owns both of them. That doesn't mean they're going to support both of them. Are you going to watch the XFL because you're a WWE fan? Because a lot of people's answer is going to be no.
And we have precedent to say
that it didn't happen before.
Right.
I will watch every game.
Well, that's because you are a hopeless romantic for Vince McMahon.
By the way.
Hey, Andy Over. Yeah, what's up?
Harry did remind me. So I got a phone call from Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder this weekend.
Cool.
Yeah.
About what?
So they did a promotion. If you bought one of their shirts, they call everybody.
Oh,
so
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I probably should have done that.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome. So they did threaten me, though. They said that I should come to their show in Long Island because I live in Staten Island. It's not that far of a drive. So I said,
are they still doing this, or is it done?
No, they're doing a show WrestleMania weekend.
No, but are they still doing this promotion? The phone thing?
I'll let you know when the next one is.
Okay.
I think they're doing one. They're doing one soon. Cool. So Zack Ryder threatened that if I didn't come to the show, he was going to deliver a bone cruncher in a very uncomfortable position to my household. So
Long Islanders.
Yeah, right. But also, both of them were super cool. Really awesome. Couldn't have asked to spend 2 minutes.
40% is enough to match WWE says. He's saying 40%. But that's a high estimate, too.
And that's what I'm trying to tell him. He's all the Jaguars fans are ready to support AEW. I'll be surprised if 40% of if 40% of people who are Jaguars fans know what AEW is.
For me, it works better. It seems more frequent that it's the other way, where if you're a wrestling fan, you like the real sports. But a lot of people who like competitive sports hate wrestling. They look down on it.
Yep.
So
100%.
40%, yeah, it's possible. I don't know if it's that high, though. Hey, Dave, have you ever went to Scarborough, Ontario? Maybe. I go to Toronto when I go to Canada. I may have hovered around those towns because they're very close. I think it's close to Toronto, so there's a shot I went near it or in it, but primarily I just say Toronto because outside of Toronto, I don't know where I am. I don't even know where I am when I am in Toronto, so I'll also put that out there.
And Joker Jack, that's right. That's the point that I was making. Wrestling lost fans because there was no competition. And that's the thing.
You didn't have to try anymore.
Right, and that's the thing because Winter Soldier was saying that all these people that are dropping off from the WWE are going to go to watch AEW. But if they're casual fans, they're just going to stop watching wrestling. Like a lot of casual fans just stop watching wrestling.
So Mexico AAA partners with AEW. Yes, but do Mexican fans have the cable provider, if there is one, that will carry AEW? Look,
right.
I'm not.
Are they going to spend the money?
It's not an all or nothing situation.
Right. Are they going to spend the money to fly from Mexico or drive from Mexico into the United States to go see a live show?
Yeah, I want to point out that I stress this all the time. You cannot, and Gentox, cool name by the way, interesting name. At least it got my attention. That. When it comes to the internet, it's not an all or nothing thing. I know the internet polarizes everything to be absolutely black or white. It's not this way. No one is saying nobody's going to watch AEW. No one's saying that they're not going to have a fan base because they will. That's not an argument. There are going to be fans there. But Albert is trying to say that they're never even going to be close to WWE, or at least not initially, WWE. I believe they have the potential to be, but we have to see. But remembering, WWE is a publicly traded company, and you may not care about that, but that means a lot of money. Do they have? Is it as much as the Khan family? No, but the Khan family isn't dedicating all of their money to AEW. They still have other things and other investments they have to dedicate that to. That's the trick. Are they willing to unload $5 billion into AEW? Because then maybe we can talk. Yeah, Vince McMahon is hovering at the McMahons are hovering. Nowhere, not to have $5 billion. Nowhere close. But is AEW going to give all that $5 billion?
That's what I also said that too.
Hey, Muhammad.
I said that as well. I was like, yeah, so they have more money. That doesn't mean they're investing all of that money in there.
AEW could at some point be the Indies rating announced. I think that's more likely to happen. That's the one thing I think was more. Have you ever listened to Drake? No. Andy, why are you listening to that?
I would never listen to Drake. And Gentox, you're talking about bringing back the regional wrestling. This isn't the 80s anymore. That doesn't
it's
work.
Happening. It's called NXT UK.
But right, they're doing their own thing. And regionals, the closest you're going to get is what, PWG? Because they're not going to leave LA. That's the most you're going to get. I mean, that's
PWG and In-N-Out Burger, both of you. Aggravating me, but it doesn't matter because I got Shake Shack anyway, and Shake Shack is better than In-N-Out. I've never had In-N-Out, but I don't care. I know it's better. Shake Shack.
Holy crap! It's 10:30. Yeah, I didn't realize we ran this long.
It's going good though. That's the reason why I haven't called it yet. I should have called it when I was trying to deal with that.
Yeah, well,
territory died out. How about WWE launched another separate wrestling promotion? They did. It's called
NXT UK. Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't particularly care. Is he talking about the territories? Yeah, he was. I believe. Hey, at least they were not TNA, right? Okay. I like your shirt, man. It's really. It's actually 9:30. I get the wrong time.
I'm not staying here for another hour. You're crazy.
I think he's got you though. Shake Shack Tate really meaty. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
If they weren't closed right now, I really shouldn't have brought this up now.
Yeah, you kind of screwed yourself over that.
TNA should start a development brand.
TNA should learn how to pay their own people.
Let's say TNA
first.
is a development.
Yeah. TNA is basically a developmental brand for NXT.
He's the one interested. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of NXT UK. I was looking forward to it so much.
I know. I couldn't get through the first episode.
I did. I got through the first. I watched like a couple.
I couldn't get through it.
And then I was like, why do I keep... And I was like, why am I watching this? At some point in time, it just occurred to me, I'm like, I don't have to watch this. And that's like, as soon as I figured that out. Are they doing the Andre the Battle?
I'm sure they are.
I believe the AEW and Impact should do something under the NWA banner as NWA. It'd be nice if NWA comes back, but I'd rather look forward to AEW.
Yeah, I agree.
Time zone. Yeah, the general. I think he knows that. I think he's doing some rub it, pushing the buttons on purpose. 3 more hours, and you can have yourself a WWE pay-per-view. TNA should
he's not wrong.
Themselves in a flea market and let YouTube millionaires battle over who makes them strange. Gotta say, this channel is better in discussions on wrestling. Well, thank you. That means a lot.
We appreciate that.
But much love to Wrestle Talk. Wrestle Talk is a big part of why I'm where I am now. So I can never no disrespect because I'm a big fan. Ollie Davis, Wrestle Talk, gotta love them.
Look, it's just the same as when people talk about that they enjoy my live streams over on my channel. They wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me being on this channel. So
support. What is your favorite Nikki Bella match? AJ Lee.
Yeah,
pick one. Okay, yeah, it's during my time. What's your alternate promotional leads don't work because promoters will always clash. That's a fair statement.
That's why the NWA was.
You're a vegetarian now, Andy. Oh, okay. Well, they have burgers for you too.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I could never go vegetarian. Not happening. I have said though, if I ever was forced to, and I can't imagine any circumstance where it happened. Bread and butter, I would eat a lot more garlic bread. I know that. And cheese pizza.
Yeah.
I would probably be the thing I eat more than anything else.
That actually makes sense.
Vegan's just not an option. That's just
no, it's not happening.
But I do really like garlic bread and butter. I really like both those things.
Richard Lee and TNA went under. I
don't think anyone will notice.
I think WWE will buy their video library and put it on the network. I think that's what they're going to be good for. That's it.
And I also think that has a finite window, too, because once these current TNA guys stop being useful, they probably won't have a reason to put it on the network. So if this doesn't happen in like 10 years, if TNA goes out of business 10 years from now, and there's no big stars from TNA to replace AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, and all these guys, I don't think they'll care. Maybe they'll do it anyway, but it would.
I think they will, but I think Joker Jack brought up the point that I was gonna bring up. The libraries for DVDs: AJ, Kurt, Jeff, Sting.
But these guys are hot now. I think if there's enough time where they cool off, WWE may not think it's worth whatever money, because it depends on what TNA wants it for. Bring back AWA. I think we have too many promotions. I really do. And when people talk about indie fans and smarks not supporting the industry, I think they do. The problem is we're spread too thin. You have too many companies to give money to. I think if we consolidate, and earlier my point when I was talking about AEW possibly getting rid of some of these smaller talent, as I said in the video, I think they will consolidate more. And if, let's just say, AEW is the only company, I don't think AEW will be the only non-WWE company, but let's just say it was, then all the indie smarks have nowhere to go but give money to AEW. So either you don't watch wrestling or you gave AEW money. That'll be something that benefits AEW. So for me to think of AEW as a financial threat, we need some of these smaller companies to go away. There's too many dispersing the numbers. New Japan is also more competition to AEW than WWE because AEW and New Japan occupy similar markets.
Yeah.
So I think that's more.
And Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, I don't think is on the financial level.
But I'm just saying, it takes money away from that.
It does to a degree, but it's no real threat to me. Thank you, Perfect Lexia. One thing I loved about that. All the Mr. Perfect fans coming out of the woodwork to celebrate that, because usually Kayfabe Sciences, I get people commenting on the jokes. I get people trying to say, sometimes it doesn't happen a lot, but people attacking the science of it, and I keep pointing out it's a fake science show. Don't take it too seriously. But me calling Kayfabe Science was just my safety net. So I try to give out intelligent things that are accurate, but I know nitpicky nerds on the internet dissect everything and try to swear up and down that they're right and you're wrong. So I just said, well, this is a fake science show, so you're taking it too seriously. You're wrong. But very rarely do I get people talking about how much they love the wrestler that I'm talking about or the move itself. This was one example. It does happen, but this is one example where all the Mr. Perfect fans are coming out of woodwork. So I was very happy to hear that.
Because Mr. Perfect is amazing.
Yeah, I love Mr. Perfect too. So I was so happy. I was like, wow, out of all the guys, Scott Hall didn't get this much accolades for it. The Sting and Brett didn't get as much accolades for it. The Stunner, in the first episode, not a lot of people said, yeah, I love the Stunner. It didn't happen. But the Mr. Perfect Plex, everyone's like, yo, bow down. So I was very happy about that. So thank you. Yes, Harry Flynn, good call. WWE needs a third brand. They have a third brand.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say. It's called NXT.
They have too many brands. I think WWE is spreading themselves too thin because they have too many places for you to give money to. Like, they're really spreading themselves thin as well. But unfortunately, they have to.
I don't know. I made the case they can have a fourth folding brand.
I know you have the video. I saw it. But the problem if they keep doing this is they spread themselves too thin. There's only so much crap you're going to watch on the network. There's only so many people that are going to give advertising dollars to.
And Winter Soldier, I know you're saying third main brand. That might happen with this Fox deal. NXT might be a main brand. It might get put on television. And if that's the case, it's a third main brand. And look, Triple H is referred to NXT as being the WWE's third brand.
The problem I have with it is you kind of hurt yourselves if they have the potential to hurt themselves in multiple categories. If, let's say, they put it on the network. Okay, I know that's not what you said, but let's say they put it on the network to try and incentivize people to watch the network more. Maybe they'll get an uptick. But unfortunately, the network only can generate so much money because you're paying $9.99 a month. You're not going to be able to get full access to it. So there's a limit to how much money that third brand can make. But let's say we put on terrestrial TV instead. Well, this also will devalue the network because the Hulu deal is screwing up Raw. Because if Raw was able to go directly onto the network the next night, it would benefit the network for sure. But if you have another brand that can't replay directly on the network, it's going to hurt the credibility of the network.
Agreed. And Winter Soldier, I made that. You're going to hate that, but I made that argument to Dave before, and Dave hates it. But continue.
It would be no. I disagree with all those statements. Because Benjamin, Jack Swagger was there. Jack Swagger, Benjamin would have been with the tag team with Charlie Haas. That happens. His friendship with Brock and his Ohio Valley got him where he needs to go. CM Punk, you could make that argument. I don't agree with it. Kofi, I don't agree with that. I think there would have been Kofi with or without the fake ECW. Standards goes on and on and on and on. Yeah. You mean GIST? GIST.
Zack Ryder.
It does. You would have had a Zack Ryder with or without fake ECW.
He wouldn't have gotten head exposure. He's even said it himself.
But it doesn't matter about the exposure because he got himself over, and he got himself over without ECW. The ECW.
No, the ECW helped. He debuted that character on ECW, which then led people to his YouTube channel, which then led him to getting himself over.
I view it as Gavin Spears. Zack Ryder.
There wasn't any. Yeah, exactly. He failed, and then he had to come back as a completely different character.
Right.
A bunch of years later.
Right.
Ryder didn't fail.
No, but it's the same thing. The getting the over part, maybe it happened, maybe he created the character there, but what got him over was being exposed to mainstream TV. That's what got him there.
If it was on mainstream TV.
No, Raw or SmackDown. A real show. Same thing with Gavin Spears. If Gavin Spears was over, who cares about the Canadian sensation? But it's not until he gets on Raw or SmackDown does he make it. And it's the same problem I have with SmackDown now, is that as soon as something good happens, they just move it to Raw. If something good happened on ECW, they move it to Raw or SmackDown. It would have happened anyway.
Right, but they needed that third brand as a platform.
No, because Zack Ryder got himself over. Yes, it was on the third TV, but if you don't get yourself over, but you get yourself over, that's not the brand helping you, that's you helping you.
He wouldn't have had that opportunity to get himself. Sheamus too, yes, good point. He wouldn't have been able to have
big loss there
to get himself over.
Then maybe Cesaro would have a singles career. Oh no! What will we do without Sheamus?
No, they would just put him in a tag team with somebody else.
No, I feel like there's only so many
kids.
No, it would have been
Jack Swagger.
It would have been Bobby Roode.
It might have been Bobby Roode.
It would have been Bobby Roode. They found that way to screw me. Originally, you're 100% right. Cesaro should have retired Angle. That would have been what I wanted. But yeah, no. They get themselves over. The brand didn't get themselves over. That show.
No, but the brand gave them an opportunity to get themselves over because they might not have gotten that exposure on any other WWE television show.
I think they would have. I think they would.
I think that guys like Ryder, maybe not. I think a guy like Sheamus, yes. I think a guy like Kofi.
Because Ryder was on SmackDown.
Maybe.
Ryder was on SmackDown.
Right. And he was
on SmackDown.
And they both got absolutely nothing
but that
on
was
that
exposure,
show.
Is my point. I know
yes.
that.
Oh, no, they got exposure.
I know that. But I'm just saying, you can't say that they would never have gone on there. You want to say Ty Dillinger never gets on Raw or SmackDown without ECW? Fine. I'll give you that.
Ty Dillinger never gets on Raw or SmackDown if not for NXT.
Yeah, okay.
Which
that's
is
true. That's true. All right, fine. Then I don't. But fine. But you hear.
And that's my point. And that's.
I don't think Zack Ryder needed a fake ECW to get on TV because I think he gets there anyway. He was on SmackDown,
But not as that character.
No, but I'm saying he gets. He's proven that they were willing to give him a shot on the major show, where Gavin Spears did not get a shot at the major show. Even when he came back, they still put him on the third developmental until we got there. So, and even then, that really didn't turn out to anything. So, I'm saying I think Zack Ryder, they always had enough confidence to think he gets the opportunities. That's what I'm trying to ultimately say.
I don't know about that. And Ryder even himself said he doesn't think that was the case.
I get that. I get that he would say that, but I don't think that's true. And even so, it is still an abomination and a slap in the face to everything that was the Extreme.
I hated the name, but other than the name, I actually don't think it was a bad brand. But that's just me. We've had this conversation before. Mm-hmm. And I'll continue to believe the way I do, and you'll continue to believe the way you do.
Today's talent all look alike. I do hear that common complaint for the people who call them vanilla midgets. I get it. Christian wanted, I don't care. That means nothing to me. Seagull Jackson means nothing to me. I don't care what belt they win. That title. Corbin always loses via roll-up. Actually, it's a schoolboy, but for some reason we don't want to call it that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a stickler, but it's just one of those things. I just want to know, when did the schoolboy when did everything become a roll-up?
Inside cradle, a schoolboy.
Yeah, all these terms, small packages, none of these exist anymore. It's just a roll-up now.
Yeah.
I did a K-Face size on it. One that nobody watched, but still very few people watch. I shouldn't say nobody. No Summer of Punk without ECW. I don't agree to that. The Summer of Punk thing came off of his steam with John Cena. It had nothing to do with that. Matt Hardy was a beast in ECW. Yeah, you might like guys in it, but it was a waste on Sci-Fi. We'll start there. It was on the wrong channel. It was destined to fail.
No, it was on the wrong channel.
There was nothing. There was destined to fail from fake ECW, Zombie, Kevin Thorne, Chris Harris, Monty Brown, Snitsky, Mike Knox, Pope D'Angelo, De Niro, Shrek, etc. Are you saying these are good things or bad things? Because I'm not sure.
No, I think he's trying to say that it's not good.
Okay. Watched. Well, thank you, Merritt. Like I said, some people watch. I should say nobody, but it was a low. But the K-Face says I really want to do ones about certain moves, and I still do every once in a while. But finishers, by far, I have to like finishers are the ones that people that get more views. So it's like I still did the Dragon Screw last month, but it's I feel the pressure to make them about finishers because people don't tend to be as interested in the regular moves. But there's more meat behind a lot of these regular moves. Might as well be called Entertainment Championship Wrestling. Yeah, nothing extreme about it. That is for sure. Umaga was underrated heel. Rusev is a cheap version of Umaga. That's an interesting take.
I don't know about a cheap version.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, but it's an interesting. I would flip that, but yeah. I can't find anything about Bray Wyatt. Where?
I think he's asking if he's hurt, and I don't think he is. I think he's just off TV until after WrestleMania.
Yeah, a lot of people have made, well, some people have made comments that, oh, that's hurt, that's why he's not being pushed. I'm like, no, he's not, but all right, if you want to pretend like his house shows, him wrestling at house shows don't happen because nothing happened, then yeah, but am I rebooking a WC? Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Chris Daniels? Wow, you're holding out for a long time on this one. What's their legacy? Anyone know? Bray Wyatt is not hurt last I checked. Big Show was their big draw. Wow, that is depressing. Okay. All right. I think we're ready to call it.
Yeah, I think so. I'm tired.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for being here. This was an exhausting show, but it was a fun one. Tomorrow, Dave Knows Comics. Check me out. I will be on Dave Knows Comics live stream. Looking to be around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might go on earlier, might go on later, but I'm looking to try maybe 2-ish. I'm going to aim for that. Okay.
And check out the Slam Sessions on YouTube. You can, like my videos, watch them. I did a couple of live streams. They're a lot of fun when we do them, so come join me. And, yeah, see you guys there. Give it a like and a subscribe. That'd be great.
All right. Thanks for watching, and as always, Dave knows.